an American. Oh, whoa. Two can be as bad as one, but the loneliest number is no one. Two can be as bad as one. I have a problem. And I think it primarily comes down to something very important. Oh, did it not work? Oh, it worked. All right, we back in it. Let me go ahead and change a bunch of what I've seen in here today. So, where is it? Where is it? Where is my thing? Where is my thing? No, where is my thing? I don't like the fact that I don't see my thing. Where is it? Oh, all my stuff, it broke. It broke on the way over here. And I don't like it. Where is it? Jesus Christ. Why did you decide at the wrongiest of moments to break upon my knees? It don't matter. I'll find it. Wow. Okay. Loud. Double heard that one. Didn't like it. Didn't like the sensation of it at all. There we go. That's better. That's a better title for this. What I'm going to have to describe as a shit show. But other people will sit here and define it in other ways. However they define it is how they define it. You just got to keep a brave face and knowing that this is the country you live in. Got to hold strong. Got to believe. Got to have hope in what it is that you believe. Don't stop believing. Hello, ready for the stupidity to happen? Bro, it's going to be a stupid day. Happy 10th, Jesus Christ. The bad thing about this is I do not at all see my YouTube chat. I'm multi-streaming, so this is going to be weird. Did you see the bets people placed on who says what? Did you see the bets people placed on who's going to win the election? Bro, it's going to be great. People placing their bets, bro. This is the election cycle. Yeah. Oh, Jesus Christ. I still can't believe y'all actually like dedicated to figuring out who gonna win. Like I just don't get it. Leon Christian is going to cover the debate. Yeah, and your dipshit audience is bullying a mentally ill retard YouTuber. So I know you wanted to live on a high. Let me bring you back down to the stupidity that you're not going to get away from until you acknowledge it. You're not going to get away from that one, buddy. No matter how you slice it, no matter what excuses and sweeping you try to put up, nothing's going to get you away from that one. I just want you to know that. When the day is over and when the night is young, just know, regardless of everything, I'm right. I'm right for all the reasons that would make everything, oh dear. Do you understand, boy? Are you aware that's how this is going to work forever? Why can't I see my, God damn it, I can't see my YouTube chat at all. Ooh, I can't see nothing of my YouTube chat, and it's my own fault. Good evening. Oh, Jesus Christ. Stop that. I got to change my thumbnail. I got to change my thumbnail to that weird AI picture I found through Google Images. Because it's the weirdest fucking thing ever. And I just don't understand. I understand primarily because I guess we live in a time where it's fine to do these things, but I'm still going to end up being confused by the overall concept and the overall premise, if you will. But I'm here, unfortunately, not queer for all of you. And in about an hour, or at least 50 minutes, the debate's going to start. But I thought, fuck it. Why not just talk about a bunch of other things that have gone on throughout these past few days? Let's get to it already. I mean, you could get to it in like 50 minutes because that's when the debate starts. I don't know who fooled you into thinking that it started now, but you know, it's starting in like an hour, 50 minutes. But why not? Why not just fuck around, man? Haven't seen you all in a while. Lying through my fucking teeth already. Oh man, I could finally catch the beginning of one of your streams. Shut up. You shut the fuck up. Why can I not? Why did this not? I don't know why. I put money into this. Oh, good Lord. You proud that you put money into this one, buddy? I hope not, because you should be ashamed of yourself. You put money into an election cycle that's just gonna make you pissed off for the next 4 years. I mean, good luck. Good luck or good riddance, depending on how you want to operate this. But how you guys doing? I'm playing Fortnite. Oh God, child. Are you proud? Are you proud that you're playing Fortnite? I hope you're proud that you're playing Fortnite. But like the stream, nonsensical nonsense. I'm concerned. Like I'm concerned because no matter what, this is actually the first time I'm ever going to watch a presidential debate. And my whole thing about it is no matter what, I'm going to be drastically disappointed, but I'm going to have the ability to see with my own working eyes how much people choose to lie about individuals who they favor in these fucking elections. Because the gimmick for a long time with a lot of people has been, hey, let's lie to a weird degree about these people, about who did what right. Who did what right. Like, oh my God, this person just owned them. Are you going to stream as you watch or just stream till it starts? I'm going to stream as I watch. What do you mean? It starts in 50. Damn, I can't be here early to like fuck around with y'all and then we can just watch it? Damn. I'm not about to stream and then, okay, guys, we're going to go watch the debate. This is not even the point of what I said. I said I'm going to go watch the thing live. I wanted to watch it live. I'm not about to. And the only reason why I'm doing it is because tomorrow, or even tonight, you're going to have these dipshits, and you could pick the dipshits who are going to watch this whole thing and say, oh my God, Kamala owned Trump here. And oh my God, Donald Trump owned Kamala here. And they're all going to ignore each piece that makes both of these motherfuckers look like batshit idiots. So fuck it. Why not just see it with our own eyes in our own time? My prediction. Would anyone like my prediction? Anyone? Does anyone care about my prediction in this whole thing? I believe with a strong sense of my being, Kamala might make this dude look a little bit slow. But overall, I feel like there will be enough there for people to say Trump won the whole thing. And because you motherfuckers will sit there and call that fence sitting, I'm sorry I don't stick to one side and just constantly dick suck it even when they're in the wrong. My bad that I'm using this thing in my body called the brain to think a little bit more critically in certain scenarios. Like it just has to be done. Because I feel like if you don't use your brain to think in all facets of scenarios, you open yourself up to layers of stupidity that you didn't foresee. The battle between the last pick versus the cult pick. Bro, both sides are cults. I don't know why either side likes to pretend like their supporters don't represent what would be the clearest definition of a fucking cult. And it's just, I don't get it. Like, I necessarily just don't get it. oh my God, we're not a cult. We're rational people who are supporting this candidate. As you belligerently defend a motherfucker every single time they point out anything that is substantial to critique. Notice I didn't put a name towards any of that. I just said group. It could be both groups. That's because it is both groups. All right. Both sides sound like cults. No, both sides are cults. Like, it's weird defenses for no reason that you could easily just wash away with the construct of, hey, it's not as drastic as people want it to be. But also, hi, hello, how are you doing? Are you all well? Are you all doing okay? Are you all living your best lives? I hope so. I hope you're doing good. I hope you're doing well. I hope you're living in the ways that I hope you choose to live. And I hope your lives are going fantastic. I know, very Jewish of me, but let's be honest, you love the sensation of hearing my voice. I'm just going to bully Chris give me 5 minutes to just make fun of Chris because his IQ is so low, and then he wonders why the commentary community gets viewed as a bunch of dumbass incel retards. Because telling me, of all people, that some guy that fucked his mother is going to cover a Trump debate is about as low IQ as you can expect, and his knee-jerk response will be, oh, it's entertaining. Are you not thrilled by entertainment? Absolutely not, because nothing about that guy entertains me. I'm sorry, I don't spend my time bum fucking around worrying about if YouTubers are pedophiles or if YouTubers are fucking kids. Unless that's a topic of discussion, then I actually will talk about it. I don't care about the dumb fuck reactions. The reason why anything regarding Mr. Beast has essentially fallen off the face of the earth is because y'all decided that we were going to be the investigative journalists who report on another motherfucker trying to be an investigative journalist, and that completely bombed. And so we're back to the squariest of ones. I need to pull my YouTube chat up because I don't see a thing. Now I see it. I'm getting over a bad cold. That's good. Freeze to death. Did you see the... all right. Is that how y'all want to start with me? If that's how y'all want to start with me, we can. Like we because I said we got about 50 minutes, so why not? Why not? I necessarily don't care. I don't care. We gotta shrink y'all to a hilarious degree because y'all all in my shit right now, bro. Bag up. Y'all all just in the screen. Y'all don't know personal space like at all. Bag up. Just like bag that shit the fuck up, bro. I don't even want to talk about this poo ass. I don't. I really don't. I really dead ass don't, bro. I dead ass don't. Yeah, because I screw it. Why not? As a Sony pony, I have respect towards the PlayStation. I have all the various trinkets and products that Sony could sell me. Why? Because I'm a gamer. I like games. Nobody can convince me otherwise that I am not allowed to like what I like. I am not one of these losers who defend companies to the death when they are clearly in the wrong. And PS5 Pro, you are clearly, Sony as a company, clearly in the wrong. Ain't no way to slice this shit. $700 for essentially a PC upgrade that costs less. I'm going to just say, if you got a PlayStation 5, no reason under the sun you need to be getting this. No reason under the sun you need this. No reason under the sun this should even be on like a Christmas wish list, a Black Friday sale wish list. Don't buy this. First of all, that entire 9-minute presentation had a bunch of dumbasses hyped up. Why? Because they thought to themselves, oh, maybe they're going to show any type of trailer towards the game. Maybe they're going to show a teaser of Spider-Man 2 DLC. Maybe we're going to get another. No, you was never going to get this shit. This was going to be the announcement of the PS5 Pro. It was going to be nothing else. It would have been good if they showed you a teaser of a newer game, but for some reason they showed us games everybody already purchased. But it supports the PlayStation 5 Pro's graphical upgrades, which if you squint really hard, you'll be able to notice the background is more detailed. Ah, yes. When I'm whooping ass as various main characters, I would love to just look around at the background of the scenario. But while you have all these people who I'm certain will attempt to defend this to the death because they got that Sony dick in their mouth unjustifiably, go ahead and defend this. This whole thing, this is a digital console. There is no physical disc put in to console. And it's like, I know physical media dead in some scenarios and people are worrying about the future of media as it's all digital because technically you don't own a lot and they could just yoink your shit based on how they feel. They are selling you the disc drive separately, which is what they did with the PS5 like slimmer. And if you didn't want that, but if you wanted to spend money on that, you could have bought the disc drive, which makes no fucking sense. None of it makes any fucking sense. And and the stand is also sold separately. What is this? This is the dumbest way to sell something to people who obviously want to buy. They want to buy the thing. You know how many people were excited about the concept of a PS5 Pro? But here's the thing, and listen, I'm gonna say it again, Sony fan through and through. You're not gonna be able to tell me I'm not a fan of the Sony, and you can't sit there and tell me otherwise. What games do they got? What games? What games are supposed to drive people towards the PlayStation outside of, I just favor PlayStation over PC and Xbox? Spider-Man, great game, 10 out of 10. Don't give a fuck what any of y'all think about that. You can have your opinions all you want, just like I can have mine. Last of Us 2 remastered, trash. Helldivers died because of stupidity from Sony and from the game developers. What? Helldivers Extra with this space survivor game that came out? No. God of War? Not even a game people talk about anymore, unless you talk about the DLC. Wukong? Maybe. But I'm not seeing a reason for any of this shit. But you know what's crazy? Let me tell you the craziest part about the whole thing. Let me tell you the craziest part. Wrong button. Let me tell you the craziest part about the whole thing. There are going to be people who buy this. And they're going to buy it for a couple of reasons. One, to do reviews on it, as if we need a fucking review. Hey, it has graphical improvements. The same shit they just told us in a 9-minute video. Hey, it's overpriced. The same shit we see with our own eyes. Hey, I don't think you should buy this because it has slight improvements that will only be noticed if you pay attention to it. Cool, the same shit I just said, and I don't even have the damn thing. I still got the base, bulky digital PS5. And it served me beautifully. No problems, no hiccups. I even have the 2 terabyte hard drive that they're promoting in this thing. It don't even matter. I don't need it. I don't need it in any capacity. Really, and it's the fact that people are going to buy this thing and think to themselves, yes, wonderful. I am now further evolved into the Sony landscape. You a dumbass who fell for it. If listen, look at me. Look at my 4 eyes. If you buy this fucking thing, I respect you for having the money to flex on some motherfuckers, but you wasting your fucking money. If you really into it for the graphics, bitch, go buy a PC. I'll just be honest with you. I agree with what you're saying. Just saying it's a great game as a PS5 exclusive. I mean, fuck. You talking about Spider-Man? Bro, Spider-Man 2 is a goated game. Now look, even though it's a goated game, I'm not about to sit here and be like, even though technically I did, it was like, who's the best game ever? The problems with the Spider-Man game hold very strong with the side missions, but considering how I did the main missions first and then just went around and fucked around with the side missions, it was a nice cooldown. It was a nice cooldown to play as a deaf girl. And I'm not saying that to be snarky or like a smart ass comment. Like, I had fun playing as the deaf girl because I just got my ass whipped by Venom at least 20 times. Why not just have a relaxer? I felt good about it. I felt great about it. Oh my God. The greatest image ever. That's your PlayStation 5. That's your PlayStation 5 Pro. I hope y'all happy. I hope y'all happy with the product that y'all chose to buy into. I hope it was worth it, technically. I hope it matters in the long run. This is why PC is superior. Gaming, which, do you think I respect you as an individual? As the individual who, let me stop before you actually start getting upset at my perfectly timed jokes about the potential assassination of Donald Trump. Somebody asked me, like, and I ain't gonna say who it was. They asked me, don't you think it's a little bit suspect that no one seems to care about the fact that Donald Trump was shot at anymore? And I'm like, bro, are you fucking insane? Nobody gives a fuck about the school shooting that happened 2 days ago. Not even 2 days ago, a week ago. No one gives a fuck about that anymore. You know why? Because we went through the process already. Thoughts and prayers, wondering who the shooter was. What's the other one? Oh, conversations about gun violence. Like, we did it. We did it all. Now we just wait for the next one. I didn't think you were going to watch the debate. Sure, fuck, why not? Like, why not? This isn't Kamala versus Orange. Well, you see, the problem, dear child, and other dear children, is that the shit don't start for another 40 minutes. Did you know that at one point it ran its course, basically? There was a school shooting today. You might be right about that, but then again, you also might be wrong. I just don't know, because the only thing in the news cycle that matters is the fucking debate. A bomb could go off in an area. A lot of motherfuckers not gonna know about that shit at all. A lot of motherfuckers not gonna know about that shit at all. At all. I'll be back in 40 minutes. I'm excited to hear your commentary live. So listen, here's the thing. I'm gonna say this with all like sincerity, because I know like some of y'all are really invested and you're choosing to invest your time in this with me, as we all are. Tomorrow's going to be a case of who's actually watching this shit or not. And if I end up doing a video about this shit and I end up saying that both of these motherfuckers look stupid, you're not going to be able to fucking think piece me about how, well, didn't you hear this part? I'm watching the whole thing and seeing how bad this is going to be and see who's going to be the strongest representative for the future of stupidity, which is the American populace. Leon, the PS5 Pro is $700 for you, but down in Canada, it's $800. Well, congratulations.
I don't really
How long is the debate supposed to be?
Who does?
I believe
It's so impractical. Hey, we got a $23
I
sky
appreciate the
pack.
follow.
Come on.
The school shooting was in Omaha, Nebraska. You're fucking kidding me, bro. Like, at what point are we going to... I like how I typed in Omaha, Nebraska, and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 spots in, we get Omaha, Nebraska school shootings. Suspect is in custody after a teen is critically hurt in a shooting in Nebraska. A 15-year-old boy was shot by his high school. Jesus Christ. A 15-year-old boy was shot by his 14-year-old classmate at Nebraska High School on Tuesday. The latest in a spat of gun violence at schools this year. School literally just started. The male suspect was arrested around 1 p.m. off school property. We believe this to be an isolated incident between two students. You even got a mother in a robe. By 3 p.m., the school's on lockdown was lifted at 1:30 p.m. Isn't it great? Isn't it great? Now, unfortunately, this was not going to get the same level of stink because of the day that this is happening. However, same issues as before. A lot of motherfuckers are not going to want to solve the intrinsic issues that are in regard to any of this. And we're just going to waste our times up until, the next one. Now, I'll be honest with you, I thought this was going to have to wait until the next few months. I was going to pencil in around November, December, but fuck it. One just a few days after the other one. And listen, as heartless as I sound about it, I'm torn up over the fact that kids and teenagers have to potentially worry that, somebody's going to bring a gun to school and open fire. But the reason why I'm desensitized to it is because fuck, it ain't shit getting done. And everybody else just doing their think pieces about how it's always a white person's fault. I saw one today that was like, see, men are dangerous. Men are the ones who do these things. And oh God, it's men who are forever going to be the problem with our society. And we must do something about those men. And it's like, yep. All we got are hot takes. What the fuck is this? Is it not going to load? Conspiracy theorist charged with beheading dad in a whoa, stop right there. Has wild explanation for the gruesome. Oh no. You can't see the words, but I could see them. The reason he did this. The Pennsylvania conspiracy theorist accused of beheading his father and showing it in a sick YouTube video claimed that his dad had betrayed him by working for the federal government. Well, I'll just go ahead and put this one to the side. I'll be recording this when I'm done with you all today. I'll be recording that when I'm done with you all today. You know what I'm saying? Jesus Christ, why is my Twitch chat so fucking discombobulated, and why is my YouTube chat so fucking discombobulated? Oh yeah. The OG Splinter voice actor just passed away. Bro, James Earl Jones died. James Earl Jones died, bro. James Earl Jones died. All right, so look. I don't usually ask y'all for nothing except to, like, share, and subscribe. You know what I'm saying? But I need y'all to do me a favor. What do you see on the screen? You see this fat bastard on the screen? I need more live, consistent viewers than this motherfucker. How many?
Never built a PC either, but looks easy now. Shouldn't be too hard to do.
I need it's really than him throughout this. He's been streaming, I think, for like 2 hours now. I don't even know how the fuck he's in my algorithm, but I need you all. I need you all to spread your propaganda to get it all going. We got to beat terrorism today. We got to beat them. Sounds bad when I say that out loud. We have to conquer these Mexican streamers as they try to infiltrate my live reaction to these two dipshits arguing with one another about how dog shit the country is. But before that, this goddamn Tyreek Hill thing. I've seen every take under the sun about this Tyreek Hill thing, and my issue with it primarily is because motherfuckers will ignore every bit of context and ignore the fact that two things could be true at once. He was speeding. He got pulled over. He was a little bit annoying. What would the word be? He was being a headache towards these police officers. And now when you're a headache to these police officers, they're going to start getting louder. They're going to start being more aggressive. They're going to start pushing that envelope to get you to comply, whether you like it or not. And the motherfucker got put to the ground. Now we got to factor in a bunch of things: the surgery on the knee, the car door, and how that car is set up, because that wasn't just no regular Honda Accord. I don't like the fact that even with, I think that was his teammates who were right behind him that pulled over, trying to piece together what's happening. You got one officer saying, "Hey, show me some ID," and then you got another one saying, "Hey, leave, just leave." And then when he's trying to leave, the motherfucker's like, "No, you're not going anywhere." So it's like, who you really about to listen to? Then you got this statement that contradicts everything that a lot of motherfuckers said. But then you got the body cam footage, which creates the conversation of two things could be true about this shit at once. I want to watch it. I've ignored it all day because I wanted to save it for the stream. Because y'all know Chalk the starfish means asshole, right?
Why don't you have your seatbelt on? Why don't you have
I like how the first Tyreek acted a little entitled, refusing to comply, but not close enough for them to behave the way they did. Absolutely uncalled for. Tyreek said, why is this ass Gronk shit in my face? Tyreek said that he recently had surgery on his knee, and the cop who made a snarky comment is on a power trip. They give good cops a bad name. You know what's crazy? They knew who he was because they ID'd him, and one of the cops was like, I just lied to y'all and said that I didn't watch this, but I saw a clip of it. Dog, you know who that is? Oh God, that's Tyreek Hill. Like, they know who that is. Or maybe not all of them.
Like what? Why you have it up? Hey, keep your window down. Manny. Hey, keep your window down. Keep your window down. I'm gonna get you out of the car.
You know what's crazy? Somebody said that the police were banging on his window. Now, maybe I just got like decrepitly fat fingers. Nobody's beating on his window. The dude is literally just like, "Hey, put your window down. Put your window down."
As a matter of fact, get out of the car. Give me your ass, bro. Get out of the car. Give me your ass, bro. Break that freaking window. Get out of the car. Get out of the car right now. We're not playing this game.
Now you want me to be critical? He should have just kept the window down. It's like, because they tinted windows, so it's like them officers are gonna be on shaky ground because you don't know what this motherfucker is doing behind the tinted window, which I know sounds very bad to say, but let's be real here. A motherfucker with tinted windows and they keep rolling them bitches up, and you not letting the officers see you to let them know what you're doing, you inviting a problem without you really knowing what to do.
Get out. 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 What part of violence you understand? Hey, Drew, I'm getting arrested, Drew. I'm getting arrested.
Are they debating right now or not? I'm gonna say this one goddamn more fucking time. You got 30 minutes. Is it bad? You know what? Fuck it. Never mind. Never mind. I was gonna talk about a whole bunch of things, but you know what? Next time I do this shit, I'll just not show up. I'll just not show up next time. Y'all want just sit in silence for 30 minutes? We can do that too. We can do that shit too. You know what I'm saying? Like we can do that too. I can sit in silence for 30 minutes. Like I can do that. Like I don't have a problem doing that. But do you all have a problem with that? Clearly, because just goddamn, I can't never just, come in and like cool out with y'all. Ah, damn, is this what you want? Is this what you want? Is this what you fucking want?
Legends of the game, but now
is this what you fucking want?
Redefined from ABC News.
This is what you wanted. 27 minutes, and that's what you wanted. Did you watch the Beetlejuice movie? No. But goddamn, you got 30. Are you that fucking impatient? You gonna walk on the stage with these motherfuckers and tell them straight up, hey, I'm gonna go ahead. I'm gonna start the debate. Be ashamed of yourself. You should be ashamed of yourself. Look at that. The number one news. Why the fuck is every news network the number one news network? Oh, are y'all excited? Oh my God. Don't you see? Isn't it great to see? Jesus Christ. I can't never. This isn't for Tanga's stream. It isn't. It's Philly traffic. Must have been a bit. I mean, fuck, bro. So look, can I ask y'all a question since y'all all here? Who do y'all want to win this fucking debate? Who do y'all want to walk away from this shit? So who's the stupider one, Leon? That's a loaded one. That's a loaded one. That's a loaded one. I guess I'll add a third option since I didn't add it in that first poll I made on my main channel. Bow. I'll just go ahead and put that there. I just want to watch it and see the reactions. Well, you're going to be waiting 26 plus minutes. I like how America loses is winning 100%. Jesus. Why? I have a question. What do you want, Gaming Witch? Y'all want to talk about them Venezuelans either breaking in or not breaking in and taking over apartment complex? Because the reason I haven't touched that is because nobody can fucking corroborate these fucking stories. And I'm sorry, but motherfuckers just... I'm banning Gaming Witch. I hope you catch AIDS. Matter of fact, it was Gaming Witch that shot at Trump, just so y'all know. Now I'm not going to be nice to you in any capacity anymore. I'm not going to be nice to you in any capacity anymore. Like, be ashamed of yourself. Be absolutely ashamed of yourself. The Gaming Witch shot President Trump. Terrorist attacker still alive. Terrorist attackers still alive. How could you? Exactly. 10 p.m. This shit don't start. It may start at 10 p.m. your time. This should start in 30 minutes my time. Ah. I'm in a trolling mood because I just got back from a football. What the fuck? Football game on a fucking Tuesday? You motherfuckers are barbaric. Who the fuck? Who the fuck focuses on a fucking... What type of football game occurs on a fucking Tuesday? Are y'all fucking unwell? All right. Like, usually, I'm going to assume this is like a high school football game. Okay, it was. Don't those usually happen on Thursdays? Like, don't these usually happen on Thursdays? Like, what the fuck? I have a volleyball camp. Dickhead, I clearly said football. Like, y'all, ooh, see? This is why America is slow. I just want y'all to know that. I just want y'all to know this is why Americans are viewed as what they're viewed as. Don't ever try to convince me that Americans are smart people. They are not. They are disastrously some of the dumbest people on the planet. Case in point, what I'm seeing in my fucking chat right now. I should claim that I'm ashamed, but I'm used to you all disappointing me. I'm usually so excited to see you all disappoint me in ways that upset the body, the mind, and the soul. We still got time to kill before this debate, boys. I want to hear not what he has to say about this, what he's got to say about these fucking Venezuelan, Mexican, Haitian, albino gangs breaking into these apartment complexes. I just want to know. I want to know.
Some of the biggest names in the Republican Party spreading debunked and what many have called racist claims that Haitian immigrants in Springfield, Ohio.
Is it racist to spread misinformation about a group of people breaking into a fucking apartment complex and taking it over? I feel like it's not racist if it's true. You stretch the line of racism if it isn't true and you're just spreading misinformation, especially if you're one of these wingnuts who Did I just end my stream? I think I might have just fucked up. If I did, my bad. If I didn't, we have nothing to worry about. It looks as if I didn't. Okay. Press the button, got a little bit scared there. Okay? But which stream? I'm streaming. I'm multi-streaming. I'm on YouTube and I'm on Twitch. Why am I on Twitch? Bro, because I'm cooling. I watched every one of your YouTube videos, but it's nice to finally catch a live stream. You have not watched every one of my YouTube videos. I don't know why you people lie to butter me up. Like, I don't know why you people lie to try to butter me up. I know you haven't watched every single one of my YouTube videos. I still appreciate the support. I still appreciate people bothering to either watch me on YouTube or on Twitch, but you don't have to butter me up with these lies. I already have low self-esteem. Don't bring it down even more. But I do like the fact that your name is Yoshi Girl. I don't know why I did that. I've watched 75 to 90 liars.
Are eating people's pets and wildlife in city parks. I mean, this
Hold the fuck up. Wait. That's what y'all claiming going on? What the fuck happened to the apartment complexes? What the fuck happened to the apartment complex? Excuse me? I thought this was about apartment. He just threw me to the wolves just now. What the fuck this is about eating pets? Apparently they're going up to ponds and poaching the ducks to eat them. How the fuck do y'all find? Who's telling y'all this shit? Like, dead ass. I'm making the chat bigger so that you all can see yourselves. I want you all to see yourselves so that you know you're part of the stream, my boys. Why can't I see my Twitch one? Things get curiouser and curiouser. Oh, there it is. Ba-bam. Oh, look. Ba-bam. Look at that right there. Look at all that. Make it a bit smaller. Why don't I just make you all bigger? I'll make both of these as small as I can, but I want you all to feel like you're so important. This story is in Ohio. Of course it's good. I mean, fuck, it is in Ohio. So it's like you Ohio people are like dirty. What's going on with Philip Boy here? He looks healthy.
Immigrants in Springfield, Ohio, Party spreading requested stories today. We have conservatives, including some of the biggest names in the Republican Party, spreading deep.
Place your bets. Who's the conservative outlets doing it? I'm putting my money on Libs of TikTok as one of them. I got my money on Libs of TikTok.
Debunked in what many have called racist claims that Haitian immigrants in Springfield, Ohio are eating people's pets and wildlife in city parks. But I mean, this shit has gone absolutely viral on X, where, of course, nothing's being done to stop its
motherfucker said CNN.
Spread or debunk the false claims. Instead, we're seeing Elon Musk spreading it as well.
Y'all know, I might be tweaking. Did Candace Owens get banned? Because I see motherfuckers say Candace Owens. Did Candace Owens get banned? Oh, motherfucker said yes. Oh, shit. Uh-oh. Banned on what? I think YouTube, but I don't know.
Well, so let's just break this.
I hope y'all love the fact that I'm pausing throughout this and talking, and it's going by somewhat fast, because when 8 p.m. strikes, we're watching the debate.
So the first thing you need to know is that Springfield has seen a big influx of Haitian migrants since the pandemic. And that has brought about some tensions in the city, which has paved the way for the conspiracy being spread all over the internet right now. And while it's been hard to pinpoint exactly how this started, it seems to have stemmed from a couple of posts on social media. With that, including this clip from a city commission meeting.
They're in the park grabbing up ducks by their neck and...
Now, listen. If I saw, is he losing weight? Me? Yes. But Philip, he's been doing that for like 3 years now. But if I saw like a grown adult, like just go to a pond and motherfucker just, snatch a fucking duck, boy, I wouldn't know what to fucking think at that point.
Cutting their head off and walking off with them and eating them.
But a key thing there is that the speaker in that video didn't appear to offer any evidence for his claims. Also, similarly, another post that set this whole thing in motion was a fourth-hand account that appeared to come from a Facebook group where people post about local crime in Springfield. And while the group was set to private yesterday, screenshots show someone posting in the group that their neighbor's daughter's friend lost her cat and found it hanging from a branch near a house, quote, where Haitians live. With the poster also claiming that the Haitians, quote, were
Nigga said free food. You ought to be ashamed of yourself.
carving it up to eat, and adding that they heard that the same was happening with dogs as well as...
Hold on, I gotta read this. Warning to all about our beloved pets and those around us. My neighbor informed me that her daughter's friend had lost her cat. She checked pages, kennels, asked around, etc. One day she came home from work, and as soon as she stepped out of her car to look towards the neighbor's house where Haitians live and saw her cat hanging from a branch like you do to deer for butchering, and they were carving it up to eat. I've been told they're doing this to dogs. They have been doing it at Snyder Park with the ducks and geese, and I was told that last bit by rangers and police. Please keep a close eye on these animals. Imagine a motherfucker steal your cat and then hang that bitch up front yard on your ass, and you across the street. Boy.
Ducks and geese in a nearby park, saying, quote, I was told that last bit by rangers and police. But those claims were then bolstered further by conservatives who posted false evidence.
It's so impractical. Hey, we got a $23 Scat Pack. Come holler.
Online, and this including some of the biggest names in right-wing media. And while there were a number of these posts, two in particular gained a lot of traction. The first being this video of a woman getting arrested in Ohio for killing and trying to eat a cat in front of her neighbors. And
Why the fuck are you trying to... Why are you doing this in front of your neighbors? So wait, it's real. If you got motherfuckers getting arrested for it, you know what? Let's keep watching.
The second was a picture of a man holding what people claimed was a charred bird. But there, according to Snopes, the woman in the first video...
This video does not support the claims about Haitians in any way. In reality, the video depicts a real incident involving an arrest of an American citizen, not a Haitian immigrant, in Canton and not Springfield. The video concerns an August 16, 2024 incident involving a woman named Alexis Tila Farrell, who was accused of murdering and eating a cat. So we got Americans doing that. So it ain't the Haitians, it's those dirty Americans.
Video is literally an American citizen, and there's no evidence she's Haitian. Also, that video took place in Canton, Ohio, not Springfield. And as for the picture, Snopes found that it came from a Reddit.
Like the body cam footage used as evidence for a Haitian cat killing. However, this image does not come from Springfield. The photo can be found in a Reddit thread about Columbus, Ohio, and it was posted at least 1 month earlier than these viral claims. There's no evidence that this individual had any connection to Haiti. All right, but so is this motherfucker eating a bird though? Because right now seems as if a lot of motherfuckers are just pulling a bunch of different unverified fucking pictures of incidents and videos of incidents and saying these are Haitians all in fucking Springfield, Ohio. And hearing that will make a motherfucker sit there and be like, well, it isn't in Springfield, but it's still in Ohio. The second part of that is the context between it. Mm-hmm. Also, I might be drunk, but that's not charred. That's not charred. That's not charred at all. Like, at all. that whatever that animal there is a goose or duck, whatever, it's not charred. It's just an animal.
Reddit thread about Columbus, Ohio that had been posted at least a month before these viral claims. Thematic.
Looks like a Canadian goose. It's illegal to kill him here for the most part.
There is no evidence that this individual had any connection to Haiti. And the outlet also going on to note that many other online claims providing evidence or secondhand accounts and have not been independently corroborated. But none of that.
But that won't stop nobody, will it? Further purported evidence comes from far-right or conspiracy influencers providing on-the-ground coverage from Springfield or from videos of a local city council meeting in which alleged residents are seen complaining about the Haitian population. As far as eating animals is concerned, these videos all depict people repeating secondhand information and are not independent corroboration. Which is a difficult thing. You we need to prove that with something other than word of mouth. Because if we playing this game by word of mouth, I got some bad news for y'all about certain people who y'all favor.
Their online claims providing evidence or secondhand accounts and have not been.
Also, hello, much love from Toronto. Now, I'll let you slide because you knew, but I'm kind of at war with all the Canadian people. Not a big fan of you people saying that ham is bacon. Not a big fan of your hockey either. But I'll let you slide for now.
Independently corroborate. But none of that has stopped so many people from spreading this all over social media, with many using it to vilify illegal immigrants, and this includes the likes of big names like Jim Jordan and J.D. Vance, who tweeted, "Months ago, I raised the issue of Haitian illegal immigrants draining social services and generally causing chaos all over Springfield, Ohio. Reports now show that people have had their pets abducted and eaten by people who shouldn't be in the country, whereas our borders are." But also, aside from the false animal claims, those claims that the Haitians are there in Springfield illegally, that's not true. It is the official website for the
Isn't Ohio like somewhere like in the top of the fucking country? Why in the fuck? How the fuck they got there? From Canada?
The city notes Haitian immigrants in the city have come to the U.S. legally under a humanitarian program. And once they've arrived, they can apply for temporary protected status, a designation that allows them to stay in the country legally and obtain employment. And that status was actually given to Haitian immigrants in 2011, and since then, it's been renewed numerous times, including under Trump. But despite that, we've seen many conservatives falsely blaming Biden and Harris for this whole made-up situation while also...
That's why I'm seeing all these fucking AI images. All right, so bam. I was trying to figure out, these. I was trying to figure the fuck out why I keep seeing these shits. I was struggling to piece together why I kept seeing motherfuckers AI generate Trump with animals. It really? Did we need this? What was it important? You even had a motherfucker in like some Congress meeting talking about this shit. Like, bro, AI is ridiculous. AI is hilarious. Like, do we need this? Why is he in a... And then Trump himself tweeted this shit. Like, look, this is his own, what is it, Truth Social, whatever the fuck it is. Like, oh my God. This country, man. This country's got a lot of great moments, a lot of confusing moments, and a lot of moments that just make you scratch your head. We got 9 minutes left, boys. We got 9 minutes left to the debate. We got 9 minutes left. Should I check the poll? I don't think I want to. I'm checking the poll. America Loses is winning drastically. How about I check the poll on the other one? I want to check the poll on the one I put on my main channel. I want to do that. Just so y'all know, if I die in this hurricane that's coming, I love you all, except the gaming witch. Poll. You know how many motherfuckers are mad at me about... Yeah, a lot of motherfuckers mad at me about what I said here. But, poll. Who walks away from tomorrow's debate? 6,000 votes. I have not seen who. I don't even know if I can end this. I don't think I can. Hold on. I feel like I might be able to see if I just do this and then this. And then, I can. Bam. Oh my God, 92%. Jesus. At least 8. Some people were like, you should have put an extra. You should have put an extra one for nobody. And it was like, that's the easy way out. You see, I just put America Loses, and hey, America Loses is winning. You needed to make a choice. Because if you don't choose, black men or women are going to die and rah, 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 and all that extra shit. All that rah, 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 all that rah, 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 rah. You should have put Kanye. I'm sorry, I wanted to be a little bit serious. I wanted to be like a little bit serious. I wanted it to be a little bit serious, just a little bit. I wanted to have a little bit of seriousness going on in the day. I'm sorry. I know it would have been great fun to just like sit and chill and do all this extra shit and blah 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 blah. But I just wanted to chill, Brodies. I just wanted to chill, Brodies. What channel are you watching this on? The ABC News YouTube channel. As you can see, it's the ABC News YouTube channel. I said Trump because I refuse to be called Latinx. I'm not certain why you could possibly think that Trump being president will stop that, because I believe some of that got ramped up with him as president. Like some of it. And maybe it got a little bit exacerbated when old Joe Beasy ended up being the president. You know what I'm saying? But a lot of the issues y'all think might automatically go away with whoever ends up being a president, I ain't gonna lie to you, it ain't going away. But how many minutes? We got 5. We got 5 minutes until we see the madness occur. I'm proud to be an American. Sometimes I'm proud. Other times it's just like, I don't know, man. I necessarily do not know, nor can I fathom how one could casually just be operational in a way of, yes, everything I love about America holds true to the bitter end. And it's like, does it though? Does it really though? Do you really have this in you, though?
Also trying to rally people around Trump. Like Ted Cruz, for example, who posted a meme of cats that said, please vote for Trump. So
I hope y'all know that, like this is what I'm talking about. If Trump win, you're still going to have this problem for a cooler minute.
Haitian immigrants don't eat us. I mean, we even saw the Trump campaign literally trying to use this to their advantage, sending out an email.
I can't stand that picture. Like, just because of the fucking Band-Aid. Like, the Band-Aid we don't need that. We don't need the Band-Aid of the century coming in to fucking help us out.
Monday claiming that the vice president was responsible for the unrest and urging people to vote for Trump, writing, "It's all coming to your city."
And also, that's factually not true, because if you want to blame somebody for this shit, your finger should point at Obama and the fellow members of the Senate and Congress who have extended this fucking bill since 2011.
Kamala Harris is elected in November. It doesn't have to be this way. And then beyond all that, there have also been a bunch of bizarre AI videos of Trump saving.
Is this bizarre, or is this like, I could classify this as funny. Like, I could classify this as kind of funny. Like, come on. I'm gonna be real. Like, you could probably call this shit weird, but I could also look at this shit and just like chuckle just a little bit.
Leaving, cuddling, or kissing a variety of different cats, dogs, and ducks, as well as there being just a host of blatantly racist posts that are being promoted to the top of searches by X's algorithm. But now, a massive update is that numerous officials in Springfield have debunked the various claims about Haitian immigrants as totally false, with the Springfield Police Division issuing a statement saying, in response to recent rumors alleging criminal activity by the immigrant population in our city, we wish to clarify that there have been no credible reports or specific claims of pets being harmed, injured, or abused by individuals within the immigrant community. With them going on to add, quote, there have been no verified instances of immigrants squatting or littering in front of people's homes or disrupting traffic. With that seeming to be in reference to a series of other claims that have been circulating online as well. Additionally, you had Parks Department officials and
but I ain't gonna lie, the thing about the immigrants in the apartment complexes, what I want to know is, when were those videos? Because you could post all that shit now if you want, but in my mind, I want to know, when were these motherfuckers walking around apartment complexes and hotels with guns? I want to know this. I would love to know this.
Clark County, where Springfield is located, telling reporters that there is no evidence or reports of this happening in the parks. Right, and the statement from police and the parks officials are extra notable here because the person behind the Facebook post that helped set this all in motion said police and rangers had told them about those claims. And notably, those departments weren't alone. The mayor of Springfield and a spokesperson for the city also debunked the claims as being unsubstantiated. But of course, even with Springfield officials coming out en masse to contradict all the lies,
no, it doesn't matter, because you're all spreading that media propaganda.
Still hasn't stopped a lot of conservatives from spreading them, with just so many people online still continuing to share the claims this morning. And this including Vance himself, who even acknowledged in his post, it's possible, of course, that all of these rumors will turn out to be false. But
this is somebody who's behind, who is he behind? Trump? This is Trump's vice president pick. After spreading this shit around, it's like, you know, it's possible that all of these rumors will turn out to be false. Then everybody needs to get back on these Twitter accounts and say, we spread this without verification, which will be met with people saying, oh, well, CNN gets to spread lies all the time. You cannot beat your opposition by being your opposition.
But even with that going on, to keep politicizing illegal migration and encouraging his followers to keep posting memes spreading false claims. And so unsurprisingly, all of this has gotten a ton of backlash from people online, with many slamming conservatives for just willfully spreading a made-up narrative, plenty also accusing them of being racist, and some just saying all of this is just so fucking stupid.
Why did they think
Yes.
that this was like a thing that you could just rip?
You know what? If anybody wants to ask the question in honest earnest about why do certain things no longer get media attention, and you just so happen to be conservative, and you just so happen to be somebody who's conservative on Twitter, do not ever tell me that shit, because I'm going to bring this shit up. That while we got issues regarding everything under the sun in this country, motherfuckers who describe themselves as media enthusiasts and people who want to spread the truth are giving AI memes of Trump hugging cats. That's why your media and your information only last for a couple fucking seconds.
Pete, it's crazy. Okay. Oh my God. It is crazy.
One more minute.
These people are out of.
Oh, wait, it might be time. Hold on. Where is it? Hello.
Down here in a
historic race for president upended just
Well,
weeks
boys.
ago. President Biden withdrawing after his last debate.
It's time.
Donald Trump now up against a new opponent.
The candidates separated by the smallest of margins, essentially tied in the polls nationally and in the key battlegrounds, including right here in Pennsylvania, all still very much in play. The ABC News presidential debate starts right now.
Why is this like a hyped up moment?
Special.
This should not have to be this hyped up at all.
Kamala Harris.
Together, we will.
Am I allowed to play a game as I watch this? Like, does the moment get immediately derailed if you end up seeing, oh, I don't know, NCAA played in the background? Like, does it no longer hold its stink? Does it, like, if I just, you know, like, I just put that right there, you know what I'm saying? If I just put that right there, you know what I'm saying? Is it bad? Is it bad? You know what I'm saying? Please. Like, I'm gonna still keep it the way y'all can see it. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm not just about to be penciled to this fucking screen like that for real. Can y'all see it? Can y'all see it? Subway Surfers at the bottom. I mean, basically.
His debate against President Donald Trump in June. Since then, this race has taken on an entirely new dynamic.
And that brings us to the rules of tonight's debate. 90 minutes with 2 commercial breaks. No topics or questions have been shared with the campaigns.
Oh.
The candidates will have 2 minutes to answer questions, and this is the clock. That's what they'll be seeing. 2 minutes for rebuttals and 1 minute for follow-ups, clarifications, or responses. Their microphones will only be turned on when it's their turn to speak. No pre-written notes
they
allowed.
did that bullshit.
There is no audience here tonight.
No, fuck that. I want them motherfuckers to let it rip. I want them motherfuckers to just start talking. Fuck all that. I want, wait, what the fuck? How come I can't, where's me? Where's me? Wait a minute. Hey, there I go. I'm just put myself over here. Matter of fact, I'm gonna put myself at the bottom. Oh, it's Kamala. Oh God. Shake hands. Shake hands.
Kamala Harris. Let's have a good debate.
Nice to see you. Have fun.
Thank you.
Nice to see you have fun. It's
Welcome
crazy.
to you both. It's wonderful to have you. It's an honor to have you both here tonight.
Good evening. We are looking forward to a spirited and thoughtful debate.
So let's get
really?
started.
You're not
I
getting
want to
that.
begin tonight with the issue that voters repeatedly say is their #1 issue, and that is the economy and the cost of living in this country. Vice President Harris, you
Tired
and
of paying
President
rent,
Trump were
Kamala?
elected
It's
4
your
years
fault,
ago, and
apparently.
your opponent on the stage here tonight often asks his supporters, are you better off than you were 4 years ago? When it comes to the economy, do you believe Americans are better off than they were 4 years ago?
Can y'all hear it?
So I was raised as a middle-class kid, and I am actually the only person on this stage who has a plan that is about lifting up the middle class and working people of America. I believe in the ambition, the aspirations, the dreams of the American people. And that is why I imagine and have actually a plan to build what I call an opportunity economy. Because here's the thing. We know that we have a shortage of,
Can y'all see me?
homes and
I'm
housing.
down here.
And the cost of housing is too expensive for far too many people. We know that young families need support to raise their children, and I intend on extending a tax cut for those families of $6,000, which is the largest child tax credit that we have given in a long time, so that those young families can afford to buy a crib, buy a car seat, buy clothes for their children. My passion, one of them, is small businesses. My mother raised my sister and me, but there was a woman who helped raise us. We call her our second mother. She was a small business owner. I love our small businesses. My plan is to give a $50,000 tax deduction to start up small businesses, knowing they are part of the backbone of America's economy. My opponent, on the other hand, his plan is to do what he has done before. Which is to provide a tax cut for billionaires and big corporations,
like
which
me.
will result in $5 trillion to America's deficit. My opponent has a plan that I call the Trump's sales tax, which would be a 20% tax on everyday goods that you rely on to get through the month. Economists have said that that Trump sales tax would actually result for middle-class families in about
Let me ask y'all a question. Did Trump change his hair? Why does it look less golden? Is he just getting old?
The backs of middle-class people paying for tax cuts for billionaires.
President Trump, I'll give you 2 minutes.
First of all, I have no sales tax. That's an incorrect statement. She knows that. We're doing tariffs on other countries. Other countries are going to finally, after 75 years, pay us back for all that we've done for the world. And the tariff will be substantial in some cases. I took in billions and billions of dollars, as you know, from China. In fact, they never took the tariff off because there was so much money they can't. It would totally destroy everything that they've set out to do. They're taking in billions of dollars from China and other places they've left the tariffs on. When I had it, I had tariffs, and yet I had no inflation. Look, we've had a terrible economy because inflation which is really known as a country buster. It breaks up countries. We have inflation like very few people have ever seen before, probably the worst in our nation's history. We were at 21%, but that's being generous because many things are 50, 60, 70, and 80% higher than they were just a few years ago. This has been a disaster for people, for the middle class, but for every class. On top of that, we have millions of people pouring into our country from prisons and jails, from mental institutions and insane asylums, and they're coming in and they're taking jobs that are occupied right now by African Americans and Hispanics, and also unions. Unions are going to be affected very soon. And you see what's happening. You see what's happening with towns throughout the United States. You look at Springfield, Ohio. You look at Aurora in Colorado. They are taking over the towns. They're taking
some of this shit just got
debunked. Going in violently. These are the people that she and Biden led into our country, and they're destroying our country.
You see how she just looked at this man?
The highest level of criminality, and we have to get them out. We have to get them out fast. I created one of the greatest economies in the history of our country. I'll do it again and even better.
We are going to get to immigration and border security during this debate, but I would like to let Vice President Harris respond on the economy here.
Well, I would love to. Let's talk about what Donald Trump left us. Donald Trump left us the worst unemployment since the Great Depression. Donald Trump left us the worst public health epidemic in a century. Donald Trump left us the worst attack on our democracy since the Civil War.
And what we have done. That's always going to be the thing that hurts Trump.
Mess. What we have done and what I intend to do is build on what we know are the aspirations and the hopes of the American people. But I'm going to tell you all in this debate tonight, you're going to hear from the same old tired playbook, a bunch of lies, grievances, and name-calling. What you're going to hear tonight is a detailed and dangerous plan called Project 2025 that the former president intends on implementing if he were elected again. I believe very strongly that the
it's
American
over. He
people
nodded his head. He knows.
A president who
He
understands
knows
the importance
the propaganda's
of bringing
real,
us together,
ladies.
knowing we have so much more in common than
and by the
what
way,
separates
touchdown,
us.
me.
And I pledge to you to be a president for all Americans.
President Trump will give you a minute here to respond.
Number one, I have nothing to do, as you know, and as she knows better than anyone, I have nothing to do with Project 2025. That's out there. I haven't read it. I don't want to read it purposely. I'm not going to read it. This was a group of people that got together. They came up with some ideas, I guess some good, some bad, but it makes no difference. I have nothing to do.
Some of those ideas in Project 2025 is kind of weird, not going to lie.
And create a great economy like I did before. We had the greatest economy. We got hit with a pandemic. And the pandemic was not since 1917, where 100 million people died, has there been anything like it. We did a phenomenal job with the pandemic. We handed them over a country where the economy and where the stock market was higher than it was before the pandemic came in.
Can I blame
Nobody's
Trump
ever
for the
seen anything
vaccine?
like it. We made ventilators for the entire world. We got gowns, we got masks, we did things that nobody thought possible. And people give me credit for rebuilding the military. They give me credit for a lot of things, but not enough credit for the great job we did with the pandemic. But the only jobs they got were bounce back jobs. These were jobs bounce back, and it bounced back and it went to their benefit. But I was the one that created them. They know.
I never read it. It's pointless if nobody's pushing for it. There are a lot of people in like the conservative echelon that will push for something like Project 2025. I don't support it. It's kind of weird, and it's over 800 pages.
I am offering what I describe as an opportunity economy, and the best economists in our country, if not the world, have reviewed our relative plans for the future of America.
Oh, yes.
What Goldman Sachs has said is that Donald Trump's plan would make the economy worse. Mine would strengthen the economy. What the Wharton School has said is Donald Trump's plan would actually explode the deficit. 16 Nobel laureates have described
Not the deficit.
his economic plan as something that would increase inflation and by the middle of next year would invite a recession. You just have to look at where we are and where we stand on the issues. And I'd invite you to know that Donald Trump actually has no plan for you because he is more interested in defending himself than he is in looking out for you.
Oh.
It's just a soundbite. They gave her that to say. Look, I went to the Wharton School of Finance, and many of those professors, the top professors.
What happened to the muted
think
mics?
My plan is a brilliant plan. It's a great plan. It's a plan that's going to bring up our worth, our value as a country. It's going to make people want to be able to go and work and create jobs and create a lot of good, solid money for our country. And just to finish off, she doesn't have a plan. She copied Biden's plan, and it's like 4 sentences, like run, spot, run. 4 sentences that are just, oh, we'll try and lower taxes. She doesn't have a plan. Take a look at her plan. She doesn't have a plan.
Mr. President, I do want to drill down on something you both brought up. The Vice President brought up your tariffs. You responded, and let's drill down on this, because your plan is what she calls is essentially a national sales tax. Your proposal calls for tariffs, as you pointed out here, on foreign imports across the board. You recently said that you might double your plan, imposing tariffs up to 20% on goods coming into this country. As you know, many economists say that with tariffs at that level, costs are then passed on to the consumer. Vice President Harris has argued it'll mean higher prices on gas, food, clothing, medication, arguing it costs the typical family nearly $4,000 a year. Do you believe Americans can afford higher prices because of tariffs?
They're not going to have higher prices. What's going to have and who's going to have higher prices is China and all of the countries that have been ripping us off for years. I was the only president ever. China was paying us hundreds of billions of dollars, and so were other countries. And, you know, if she doesn't like them, they should have gone out and they should have immediately cut the tariffs. But those tariffs are there 3.5 years now under their administration. We are going to take in billions of dollars, hundreds of billions of dollars. I had no inflation, virtually no inflation. They had the highest inflation perhaps in the history of our country, because I've never seen a worse period of time. People can't go out and buy cereal or bacon or eggs or anything else. The people of our country are absolutely dying with what they've done. They've destroyed the economy. And all you have to do is look at a poll. The polls say 80 and 85 and even 90% that the Trump economy was great, that their economy was terrible.
Vice President Harris, I do want to
I stole your goddamn bacon.
Because the Biden administration did keep a number of the Trump tariffs in place. So how do you respond?
Well, let's be clear that the Trump administration resulted in a trade deficit, one of the highest we've ever seen in the history of America. He invited trade wars. You want to talk about his deal with China? What he ended up doing is, under Donald Trump's presidency, he ended up selling American chips to China to help them improve and modernize their military, basically sold
Applewood bacon, the best bacon, baby.
Policy about China should be in making sure the United States of America wins the competition for the 21st century, which means focusing on the details of what that requires, focusing on relationships with our allies, focusing on investing in American-based technology so that we win the race on AI, on quantum computing, focusing on what we need to do to support America's workforce so that we don't end up having on the short end of the stick in terms of workers' rights. But what Donald Trump did, let's talk about this, with COVID, is he actually thanked President Xi for what he did during COVID. Look at his tweet. Thank you, President Xi, exclamation point, when we know that Xi was responsible for lacking and not giving us transparency about the origins of COVID.
President Trump, I'll let you respond.
First of all, they bought their chips from Taiwan. We hardly make chips anymore because of philosophies like they have and policies like they have. I don't say her because she has no policy. Everything that she believed
got 'em from
3
Taiwan.
years ago and 4 years ago is out the window.
Taiwan.
She's going to my philosophy now. In fact, I was going to send her a MAGA hat. She's gone to my philosophy. But if she ever got elected, she'd change it. And it will be the end of our country. She's a Marxist. Everybody knows she's a Marxist. Her father's a Marxist professor in economics, and he taught her well. But when you look at what she's done to our country, and when you look at these millions and millions of people that are pouring into our country monthly, where it's, I believe, 21 million people, not the 15 that people say, and I think it's a lot higher than the 21. That's bigger than New York State pouring in. And just look at what they're doing to our country. They're criminals. Many of these people coming in are criminals. And that's bad for our economy, too. You know, you mentioned before, we'll talk about immigration later. Well, bad immigration is the worst thing that can happen to our economy. They have, and she has, destroyed our country with policy that's insane. Almost policy that you'd say they have to hate our country.
President Trump, thank you. Lindsay?
I want to turn to the issue of abortion. President Trump often touted that you were able to kill Roe v. Wade. Last year, you said that you were proud to be the most pro-life president in American history. Then last month, you said that your administration would be great for women and their reproductive rights. In your home state of Florida, you surprised many with regard to your 6-week abortion ban because you initially had said that it was too short. And you said, quote, I'm going to be voting that we need more than 6 weeks. But then the very next day, you reversed course and said you would vote to support the 6-week ban. Vice President Harris says that women shouldn't trust you on the issue of abortion because you've changed your position so many times. Therefore, why should they trust you?
Well, the reason I'm doing that vote is because the plan is, as you know, the vote is, they have abortion in the 9th month. They even have, and you can look at the governor of West Virginia, the previous governor of West Virginia, not the current governor, who's doing an excellent job, but the governor before, he said the baby will be born and we will decide what to do with the baby. In other words, we'll execute the baby. And that's why I did that, because that predominates, because they're radical. The Democrats are radical in that. And her vice presidential pick, which I think was a horrible pick, by the way, for our country, because he is really out of it. But her vice presidential pick says abortion in the 9th month is absolutely fine. He also says execution after birth. It's an execution, no longer abortion, because the baby is born, is okay. And that's not okay with me, hence the vote. But what I did is something for 52 years they've been trying to get Roe v. Wade into the states. And through the genius and heart and strength of 6 Supreme Court justices, we were able to do that. Now, I believe in the exceptions for rape, incest, and life of the mother. I believe strongly in it. Ronald Reagan did also. 85% of Republicans do. Exceptions, very important. But we were able to get it, and now states are voting on it. And for the first time...
Let me ask y'all a question. What do y'all think about abortions via the rape? But whenever you tell me these, please don't sit here and say, why are we capitulating for the rarities?
Conservative, they all wanted this issue to be brought back to the states where the people could vote.
What's the score? 14-7.
Now, Ohio?
Should I change the structure of this so we can all see the score?
Kansas, the vote was somewhat liberal, much more liberal than people would have thought. But each individual state is voting. It's the vote of the people now. It's not tied up in the federal government. I did a great service in doing it. It took courage to do it. And the Supreme Court had great courage in doing it. And I give tremendous credit to those 6 justices.
There is no state in this country where it is legal to kill a baby after it's born. Madam Vice President, I want to get your response to President Trump.
Well, as I said, you're going to hear a bunch of lies, and that's not actually a surprising fact. Let's understand how we got here. Donald Trump hand-selected 3 members of the United States Supreme Court with
I like
the
how she's looking at the
intention that
camera.
they would undo the
Let me
protections of
know
Roe v. Wade.
that you care about me.
And they did exactly
Hurt me.
as he intended. And now in over 20 states, there are Trump abortion bans, which make it criminal for a doctor or nurse to provide health care. In one state, it provides prison for life. Trump abortion bans that make no exception even for rape and incest, which understand what that means. A survivor of a crime of violation
Let me tell you something, motherfucker. Don't ever tell me getting a cover
have
two.
the right to make a decision about what happens to their body next. That is immoral. And one does not have to abandon their faith or deeply held beliefs to agree. The government, and Donald Trump certainly, should not be telling a woman what to do with her body. I have talked with women around our country. You want to talk about this is what people wanted? Pregnant women who want to carry a pregnancy to term, suffering from a miscarriage, being denied care in an emergency room because the healthcare providers are afraid they might go to jail, and she's bleeding out in a car in the parking lot. She didn't want that. Her husband didn't want that. A 12 or 13-year-old survivor of incest being forced to carry a pregnancy to term. They don't want that. And I pledge to you, when Congress passes a bill to put back in place the protections of Roe v. Wade, as President of the United States, I will proudly sign it into law. But understand, if Donald Trump were to be reelected, he will sign a national abortion ban. Understand, in his Project 2025, there would be a national abortion, a monitor that would be monitoring your pregnancies, your miscarriages. I think the American people believe.
I ain't gonna lie to you. If I was a woman and I had my pussy monitored like that, I'd be uncomfortable. I would be uncomfortable.
Should not be made by the government.
Thank you, Vice President Harris.
Well, there she goes again. It's a lie. I'm not signing a ban, and there's no reason to sign a ban because we've gotten what everybody wanted. Democrats, Republicans, and everybody else, and every legal scholar wanted it to be brought back into the states, and the states are voting. And it may take a little time, but for 52 years, this issue has torn our country apart, and they've wanted it back in the states. And I did something that nobody thought was possible. The states are now voting. What she says is an absolute lie. And as far as the abortion ban, no, I'm not in favor of abortion ban, but it doesn't matter because this issue has now been taken over by the states.
Would you veto a national abortion ban if it came to your desk?
Well, I won't have to because, again, two things. Number one, she said she'll go back to Congress. She'll never get the vote. It's impossible for her to get the vote.
Why not wear a condom? Well, I feel like this was a woman's issue, and women don't have condoms. I did like the fucking pussy trap where, you know, you try to stick it in and it fucking clamps down on you and spikes you. I did like that idea. It's a great idea. I don't know how you're going to get that funded for everybody, but I do like that idea. That idea holds a lot of weight towards it, and I like it.
If you call him a boss, he spends.
Also, wear a condom. If you're a man and you don't want children, I promise you, pussy still feels good, even if you have a condom that fits. Wear the condom.
Supreme Court.
Get a fucking vasectomy.
Taunted with this whole thing about this whole idea. And how unfair that would have been. Part of the reason they lost.
It takes two to make a baby. I'm going to tell you this one time, then I'm going to request you shut the fuck up. The topic was abortions, and maybe I've lost sight of humanity. Abortions are for the women.
Talk about abortion.
But if I could just get a yes or no, because your running mate, J.D. Vance, has said that you would veto it if it did come to your desk.
Well, I didn't discuss it with J.D. In all fairness, J.D., and I don't mind if he has a certain view.
We do have condoms for women.
But I really
We have evolved as a society.
We don't have to discuss it because she'd never be able to get it, just like she couldn't get student loans. They couldn't get student loans. They didn't even come close to getting student loans. They taunted young people and a lot of other people that had loans. They can never get this approved. So it doesn't matter what she says about going to Congress. So wonderful. Let's go to Congress. Do it. But the fact is that for years they wanted...
I'm absolutely in support of men getting vasectomies if they don't want a baby. Stop fucking and raw dogging and blowing your shit in people and thinking that that's okay.
Vote of the people on abortion.
Vice President Harris, want to give you your time to respond, but I do want to ask, would you support any restrictions
Trojan condoms have chemicals in them? Bro, a lot of shit got chemicals in it.
The protections of
but I don't wear them. Big Daddy wear them fucking...
You rightly mentioned, nowhere
extra large
in America is a woman carrying a pregnancy to term and asking for an abortion. That is not happening. It's insulting to the women of America. And understand what has been happening under Donald Trump's abortion bans. Couples who pray and dream of having a family are being denied IVF treatments. What is happening in our country? Working people, working women,
I gotta pick.
Are working one or two jobs.
Y'all can barely see it, but I gotta pick.
Who can barely afford childcare as it is, have to travel to another state to get on a plane sitting next to strangers to go and get the health care she needs. Barely can afford to do it, and what you are putting her through is unconscionable. And the people of America have not, the majority of Americans believe in a woman's right to make decisions about her own body. And that is why, in every state where this issue has been on the ballot, in red and blue states both, the people of America have voted for freedom.
Vice President Harris,
Excuse me, I have to respond. Another lie. It's another lie.
Another
I have
lie.
been a leader on IVF, which is fertilization. The IVF, I have been a leader. In fact, when they got a very negative decision on IVF from the Alabama courts, I saw the people of Alabama and the legislature 2 days later voted it in. I've been a leader on it. They know that, and everybody else knows it. I have been a leader on fertilization, IVF. And the other thing, you should ask, will she allow
who just whispered
in the
did
8th
not?
month, 9th month, 7th month?
Come on.
Okay, would you do that? Why don't you ask her that question?
Why don't you answer the question? Would you
Oh, Lord. Here you go. Here you go.
You could do abortions in the 7th month, the 8th month, the 9th month,
not true.
and probably after birth. Just look at the former governor of Virginia. The governor of Virginia said, we put the baby aside, and then we determine what we want to do with the baby.
President Trump, thank you.
We're going to turn now to immigration and border security. We know it's an issue that's important to Republicans, Democrats, voters across the board in this country. Vice President Harris, you were tasked by President Biden with getting to the root causes of migration from Central America. We know that illegal border crossings reached a record high in the Biden administration. This past June, President Biden imposed tough new asylum restrictions. We know the numbers since then have dropped significantly. But my question to you tonight is, why did the administration wait until 6 months before the election to act? And would you have done anything differently from President Biden on this?
Good question.
I'm the only person on this stage who has prosecuted transnational criminal organizations for the trafficking of guns, drugs, and human beings.
Okay.
And let me say
But
that
why did you wait till 6 months before the election?
Including some of the most conservative members of the United States Senate, came up with a border security bill which I supported. And that bill would have put 1,500 more border agents on the border to help those folks who are working there right now overtime, trying to do their job. It would have allowed us to stem the flow of fentanyl coming into the United States. I know there's so many families watching tonight who have been personally affected by the surge of fentanyl in our country. That bill would have put more resources to allow us to prosecute transnational criminal organizations for trafficking in guns, drugs, and human beings. But you know what happened?
I don't really want to get gangbanged.
Donald Trump got on the phone, called up some folks in Congress and said, kill the bill. And you know why? Because he'd prefer to run on a problem instead of fixing a problem. And understand, this comes at a time.
I'm still not getting my questions answered about my apartment complexes being too high.
Who engages in solutions, who actually addresses the problems at hand. But what we have in the former president is someone who would prefer to run on a problem instead of fixing a problem. And I'll tell you something, he's going to talk about immigration a lot tonight, even when it's not the subject that is being raised. And I'm going to actually do something really unusual, and I'm going to invite you to attend one of Donald Trump's rallies, because it's a really interesting thing to watch. You will see during the course of his rallies, he talks about fictional characters like Hannibal Lecter. He will talk about windmills cause cancer. And what you will also notice is that people start leaving his rallies early out of exhaustion and boredom.
Oh, Lord.
And I will tell you, the one thing you will not hear him talk about is you. You will not hear him talk about your needs, your dreams, and your desires. And I'll tell you, I believe you deserve a president who actually puts you first, and I pledge to you that I will.
Vice President Harris, thank you. President Trump, on that point, I want to get your response.
Well, I would like to respond.
Let me just ask, though, why did you try to kill that bill, and successfully so? That would have put thousands of additional agents and officers on the board.
The people are going to get mad that he doesn't want to respond.
She said people start leaving. People don't go to her rallies. There's no reason to go.
Oh,
and
Lord.
the people that do go, she's bussing them in and paying them to be there.
That was debunked.
And then
that was debunked.
Showing them in a different light. So she can't talk about that. People don't leave my rallies. We have the biggest rallies, the most incredible rallies in the history of politics.
Why am I here? Why? Listen to me, if you don't walk away from this shit come January thinking that this has been the biggest black eye on America, you are sorely having somebody's dick in your mouth. What the fuck? Why are you talking about rallies?
What they have done to our country by allowing these millions and millions of people to come into our country, and look at what's happening to the towns all over the United States. And a lot of towns don't want to talk. It's not going to be Aurora or Springfield. A lot of towns don't want to talk about it because they're so embarrassed by it. In Springfield, they're eating the dogs, the people that came in. They're eating the cats. They're eating
I love this
the
country.
pets of the people that live there.
I love this country.
This is what's happening in our country, and it's a shame. As far as
I need that soundbite. They're eating the dogs.
The reason they go is they like what I say. They want to bring our country back. They want to make America great again. It's very simple.
I'm begging somebody to send me. I need that head scratching ass clip. I just blew a touchdown worrying about I need that soundbite. They're eating the dogs.
Being Venezuela on steroids.
I just want to clarify here. You bring up Springfield, Ohio, and ABC News did reach out to the city manager there. He told us there have been no credible reports of specific claims of pets being harmed, injured, or abused by individuals within the immigrant community.
Well, I've seen people on television.
Let me just say here, this is
the people on television say my dog was taken and used for food. So maybe he said that, and maybe that's a good thing to say for a city manager.
I'm not taking this from
television. But the people are on
taking
television
it from the city
saying
manager.
their dog was eaten by the people that went there.
Again, the Springfield city manager says there's no evidence of that. Vice President Harris, I'll let you respond to the rest of it.
We'll find out.
You talk about extreme. You know, this is, I think, one of the reasons why in this election, I actually have the endorsement of 200 Republicans who have formerly worked with President Bush, Mitt Romney, and John McCain, including the endorsement of former Vice President Dick Cheney and Congress member Liz Cheney. And if you want to really know the inside track on who the former president is, if he didn't make it clear already, just ask people who have worked with him. His former chief of staff, a 4-star general, has said he has contempt for the Constitution of the United States. His former national security advisor has said he is dangerous and unfit. His former Secretary of Defense has said the nation, the Republic, would never survive another Trump term. And when we listen to this kind of rhetoric, when the issues that affect the American people are not being addressed, I think the choice is clear in this election.
President Trump, I'll give you a quick minute to respond here.
Thank you, because when I hear that, see, I'm a different kind of a person. I fired
Lord.
most of those people. Not so graciously. They did bad things or a bad job. I fired them. They never fired one person. They didn't fire anybody having to do with Afghanistan and the Taliban and the 13 people who's were just killed, viciously and violently killed. And I got to know the parents and the family. They didn't fire. They should have fired all those generals, all those top people, because that was one of the most incompetently handled situations anybody has ever seen. So when somebody does a bad job, I fire him. And you take a guy like Esper. He was no good. I fired him. So he writes a book. Another one writes a book. Because with me, they can write books. With nobody else can they. But they have done such a poor job, and they never fire anybody. Look at the economy. Look at the inflation. They didn't fire any of their economists. They have the same people. That's a good way not to have books written about you. But just to finish, I got more votes than any Republican in history by far. In fact, I got more votes than any president, sitting president, in history by far.
Let me continue on immigration. It was what you wanted to talk about earlier, so let's get back to your deportation proposal that the vice president has reacted to as well. President Trump, you call this the largest domestic deportation operation in the history of our country. You say you would use the National Guard. You say if things get out of control, you'd have no problem using the U.S. military.
Police, yes.
You also said you would use local police. How would you deport 11 million undocumented immigrants? I know you believe that number is
generous
much higher.
question to ask.
Take us through this. What does this look like? Will authorities be going door to door in this country?
Yeah, it is much higher because of them. They allowed criminals, many millions of criminals.
Answer the
they
question.
Allowed terrorists. They allowed
Answer the question.
common street criminals. They allowed people to come in, drug dealers, to come into
Answer
our
the
country.
question.
And they're now in the United States and told by their countries like Venezuela, don't ever come back or we're going to kill you. Do you know that crime in Venezuela and crime in countries all over the world is way down? You know why? Because they've taken their criminals off the street and they've given them to her to put into our country. And this will be one of the greatest mistakes in history for them to allow. And I think they probably did it because they think they're going to get votes, but it's not worth it because they're destroying the fabric of our country by what they've done. There's never been anything done like this at all. They've destroyed the fabric of our country. Millions of people let in, and all over the world, crime is down all over the world except here. Crime here is up and through the roof, despite their fraudulent statements that they made. Crime in this country is through the roof. And we have a new form of crime. It's called migrant crime, and it's happening at levels that nobody thought possible.
President Trump, as you know, the FBI says overall violent crime is actually coming down in this country. But
excuse me, the FBI they were defrauding statements. They didn't include the worst cities. They didn't include the cities with the worst crime. It was a fraud, just like their number of 818,000 jobs that they said they created turned out to be a fraud.
President Trump, thank you. I'll let you respond, Vice President Harris.
Well, I think this is so rich, coming from someone who has been prosecuted
Oh, there you go.
for
Here you go.
national security crimes,
There you go.
economic crimes, election interference, has been found liable for sexual assault, and his next big court appearance is in November at his own criminal sentencing.
Oh, no.
And let's be clear where each person stands on the issue of what is important about respect for the rule of law and respect for law enforcement. The former vice president called for defunding federal law enforcement, 45,000 agents, get this, on the day after he was arraigned on 34 felony counts. So let's talk about what is important in this race. It is important that we move forward, that we turn the page on this same old tired rhetoric and address the needs of the American people, address what we need to do about the housing shortage, which I have a plan for, address what we must do to support our small businesses, address bringing down the price of groceries. But frankly, the American people...
Does anyone else notice? I know we've been here for almost an hour. Does anyone else notice that neither one of these motherfuckers have just answered a question? They've just pointed the finger at everyone else.
Political opponent.
Or not
And
everyone
I'm
else,
winning
but them
most
two.
of them, and I will win the rest on appeal. And you saw that with the decision that came down just recently from the Supreme Court. I'm winning most of them. But those are cases, it's called weaponization. Never happened in this country. They weaponized the Justice Department. Every one of those cases was involved with the DOJ, from Atlanta and Fani Willis to the Attorney General of New York and the DA in New York. Every one of those cases. And then they say, oh, he's a criminal. They're the ones that made them go after me. By the way, Joe Biden was found essentially guilty on the documents case. And what happened in my documents case? They said, oh, that's the toughest of them all. A complete and total victory. 2 months ago, it was thrown out. It's weaponization, and they used it, and it's never happened in this country. They used it to try and win an election. They're fake cases.
President Trump, thank you. A really quick response here, Vice President Harris, on this notion of weaponization of the Justice Department.
Well, let's talk about extreme.
I got 100 live concurrent viewers. Like the stream.
Election in 2024.
We're seeing our country
the United States
in its full
Supreme
form.
Court recently ruled that the former president would essentially be immune from any misconduct if he were to enter the White House again. Understand, this is someone who has openly said he would terminate.
Also, I want y'all to know this. I know, like, everybody wants to pin everything on, like, the president and the vice president for the prices going up. Y'all do know these CEOs are price gouging the fuck out of y'all, and they have the choice to do it or not do it. And you could see it by when they were upping the prices for shit. And once they realized that they weren't getting a return investment, they started dropping those prices. Kroger's CEO admitted to it. McDonald's was doing it in real time. And everybody was trying to pinpoint it on, oh, you're paying these employees more money. That could be one of those reasons.
Weaponized, please. This is the one that weaponized, not me. She weaponized. I probably took a bullet to the head because of the things that they say about me. They talk about democracy. I'm a threat to democracy. They're the threat to democracy with a fake Russia investigation
we do have a lot
that went nowhere.
We have a lot to get to. Lindsay?
Vice President Harris, in your last run,
It went nowhere for you, but the conservative YouTubers?
don't. You wanted mandatory government buyback programs for assault weapons. Now your campaign says you don't. You supported decriminalizing border crossings. Now you're taking a harder line. I know you say that your values have not changed. So then why have so many of your policy positions changed?
So my values have not changed.
That's a good question.
I'm going to discuss at least every point that you've made. But in particular, let's talk about fracking, because we're here in Pennsylvania. I made that very clear in 2020. I will not ban fracking. I have not banned fracking as Vice President of the United States. And in fact, I was the tie-breaking vote on the Inflation Reduction Act, which opened new leases for fracking. My position is that we have got to invest in diverse sources of energy so we reduce our reliance on foreign oil. We have had the largest increase in domestic oil production in history because of an approach that recognizes that we cannot over-rely on foreign oil. As it relates to my values, let me tell you, I grew up a middle-class kid raised by a hardworking mother who worked and saved and was able to buy our first home when I was a teenager.
That's great.
The values I bring to the importance of home ownership, knowing
prices were a lot different back then, baby girl.
$400 million on a silver platter and then filed bankruptcy 6 times, is a value that I bring to my work, to say we are going to work with the private sector and home builders to increase 3 million homes, increase by 3 million homes by the end of my first term. My work that is related to having a friend when I was in high school who was sexually assaulted by her stepfather. And my focus then on protecting women and children from violent crime is based on a value that is deeply grounded in the importance of standing up for those who are most vulnerable. My work that is about protecting Social Security and Medicare is based on long-standing work that I have done, protecting seniors from scams. My values have not changed. And what is important is that there is a president who actually brings values and a perspective that is about lifting people up and not beating people down and name-calling. The true measure of the leader is the leader who actually understands the strength is not in beating people down, it's in lifting people up. I intend...
Who the fuck's responsible for my Social Security being leaked with the rest of these fucking Americans?
I wish I was. My father was a Brooklyn builder, Brooklyn, Queens, and a great father, and I learned a lot from him. But I was given a fraction of that, a tiny fraction, and I built it into many, many billions of dollars. Many, many billions.
Billions.
And when people see it, they are even surprised. So we don't have to talk about that. Fracking, she's been against it for 12 years. Defund the police, she's been against that forever. She gave all that stuff up very wrongly, very horribly, and everybody's laughing at it, okay? They're all laughing at it. She gave up at least 12 and probably 14 or 15 different policies. Like, she was big on defund the police. In Minnesota, she went out, wait a minute, I'm talking now.
Ooh.
If you don't mind, please.
There it is.
Does that sound familiar? She went out.
Why are we here?
She went out in Minnesota and wanted to let criminals that killed people.
That's gonna be the moment of the. That's gonna be the moment everybody hangs on.
To get them out of jail. She did things that nobody would ever think of. Now she wants to do transgender operations on illegal aliens that are in prison. This is a radical left liberal that would do this. She wants to confiscate your guns, and she will never allow fracking in Pennsylvania. If she won the election, fracking in Pennsylvania will end on day one. Just to finish one thing, so important in my opinion. So I got the oil business going like nobody has ever done before. When they took over, they got rid of it, started getting rid of it, and the prices were going up the roof. They immediately let these guys go to where they were. I would have been 5 times, 4 times, 5 times higher, because you're talking about 3.5 years ago. They got it up to where I was because they had no choice, because the prices of energy were quadrupling and doubling. You saw what happened to gasoline. So they said, let's go back to Trump. But if she won the election, the day after that election, they'll go back to destroying our country, and oil will be dead, fossil fuel will be dead. We'll go back to windmills, and we'll go back to solar, where they need a whole desert to get some energy to come out of. You ever see a solar plant? By the way, I'm a big fan of solar, but they take...
The fuck is he talking about?
400, 500 acres of desert
President
soil.
Trump, we have a
These
lot
are
of
not good
issues
things
that
for
we
the
have to get
environment,
to.
as
We're
she
out of time.
understands.
Thank you.
Lindsay, thank you. We have an election in just 56 days. And I want to talk about the peaceful
I'm about to do
transfer
cocaine.
of power,
What the fuck
which,
did I
of course,
just
we
hear?
all know is a cornerstone of our democracy and the role of a president in a moment of crisis. Mr. President, on January 6th, you told your supporters to march to the Capitol. You said you would be right there with them. The country and the world saw what played out at the Capitol that day, the officers coming under attack. Aides in the West Wing say you watched it unfold on television off the Oval Office. You did send out tweets, but it was more than 2 hours before you sent out that
3
video
hours.
message telling your supporters to go home.
3
Is
hours
there
and a couple
anything
change
you
of
regret
minutes
about what you did on that day?
You just said a thing that isn't covered. Peacefully and patriotically, I said during my speech, not later on. Peacefully and patriotically. And nobody on the other side was killed. Ashley Babbitt was shot by an out-of-control police officer that should have never, ever shot her. It's a disgrace. But we didn't do this group of people that have been treated so badly.
I don't know about that
Into
one.
our country and killing people that she allowed to pour in. She was the border czar. Remember that. She was the border czar. She doesn't want to be called the border czar because she's embarrassed by the border. In fact, she said at the beginning, "Oh, I'm surprised you're not talking about the border yet." That's because she knows what a bad job they've done. What about those people? When are they going to be prosecuted? When are these people from countries all over the world, not just South America, they're coming in from all over the world, David.
Especially
All over the
Canada.
world. And crime rates are down all over the world because of it.
But let me just
when
ask
are those, David, when are those people going to be prosecuted? When are the people that burned down Minneapolis going to be prosecuted? Or in Seattle? They went into Seattle. They took over a big percentage of the city of Seattle. When are those people going to be prosecuted?
But let me just ask
you. You might ask her that question.
You were the president. You were watching it unfold on television. It's a very simple question as we move forward toward another election. Is there anything you regret about what you did on that day? Yes or no?
I had nothing to do with that other than they asked me to make a speech. I showed up for a speech. I said, I think it's going to be big. I went to Nancy Pelosi and the mayor of Washington, D.C., and the mayor put it back in writing, as you know. I said, you know, this is going to be a very big rally or whatever you want to call it. And again, it wasn't done by me. It was done by others. I said, I'd like to give you 10,000 National Guard or soldiers. They rejected me. Nancy Pelosi rejected me. It was just 2 weeks ago, her daughter has a tape of her saying she is fully responsible for what happened. They want to get rid of that tape. It would have never happened if Nancy Pelosi and the mayor of Washington did their jobs. I wasn't responsible for security. Nancy Pelosi was responsible. She didn't do her job.
The question was about you as president, not about former Speaker Pelosi. But I do want Vice President Harris to
I
respond
don't really want to get gangbanged.
Who does?
I was
It's
at
so
the Capitol on
impractical.
January.
I gotta turn that off.
I was the vice president-elect.
I gotta
was
turn that the
also
fuck
an
off.
acting senator. I was there. And on that day, the President of the United States incited a violent mob to attack our nation's capital, to desecrate our nation's capital. On that day, 140 law enforcement officers were injured, and some died. And understand, the former president has been indicted and impeached for exactly that reason.
Didn't even matter.
But this is
He
not
was still
an
the president.
isolated situation. Let's remember Charlottesville, where there was a mob of people carrying tiki torches, spewing anti-Semitic hate. And what did the president then
2024.
at the time say?
Kanye
There were
2024.
fine people on each side.
Kanye 2024.
Let's remember that when it came to the
Lil
Proud
Wayne
Boys,
should
a
be-
militia,
Lil Wayne should be at the Super Bowl head toucher.
the former president said, stand back and stand by. So for everyone watching who remembers what January 6th was,
Wasn't stand back and stand by a response to all the people telling him to denounce white supremacy?
let's not go
I
back.
could be
We're
wrong.
not going back. It's time to turn the page. And if that was a bridge too far for you, well, there is a place in our campaign for you to stand for country, to stand for our democracy, to stand for rule of law, and to end the chaos, and to end the approach that is about attacking the foundations of our democracy because you don't like the outcome.
Democracy.
And be clear on that point. Donald Trump, the candidate, has said in this election there will be a bloodbath if this and the outcome of this election is not to his liking. Let's turn the page on this. Let's
That's a
not
bad
go
thing to
back.
say. People
Let's
could use
chart
that
a
and
course
work against you.
for the future and not go backwards to the past.
Let me just follow up here.
It was a different term, and it was a term that related to energy because they have destroyed our energy business. That was where bloodbath was. Also, on
That's
Charlottesville, that story has been, as you would say, debunked. Laura Ingraham, Sean Hannity, Jesse, all of these people, they covered it. If they go an extra sentence, they will see it was perfect. It was debunked in almost every newspaper, but they still bring it up, just like they bring 2025 up. They bring all of this stuff up. I ask you this. You talk about the Capitol. Why are we allowing these millions of people to come through
Millions!
on the southern
You-
border? How
this
come
should have
she's
been a
not
drinking
doing
game.
anything?
Every time you say
And I'll tell you what I would
millions.
do, and I would be very proud to do it. I would say we would both leave this debate right now. I'd like to see her go down to Washington, D.C. during this debate because we're wasting a lot of time. Go down to, because she's been so bad, it's so ridiculous. Go down to Washington, D.C. and let her sign a bill to close up the border because they have the right to do it. They don't need bills. They have the right to do it. The President of the United States, you'll get him out of bed. You'll wake him up at 4 o'clock in the afternoon. You'll say, come on down to the office. Let's sign a bill. If he signs a bill
He's talking
that
about
the border
Joe,
is
not
closed, all you have to do
Joe.
is say it to the Border Patrol, who are phenomenal. If they do that, the border is closed.
Mr.
Those
President,
people are killing many people, unlike J6.
We talked immigration here tonight. I do want to focus on this next issue to both of you because it really brings us this into focus, truth in these times that we're living in. Mr. President, for 3.5 years after you lost the 2020 election, you repeatedly falsely claimed that you won, many times saying you won in a landslide. In the past couple of weeks leading up to this debate, you have said, quote, you lost by a whisker, that you, quote, didn't quite make it, that you came up a little bit short.
I said that?
Are you now acknowledging that you lost in 2020?
No, I don't acknowledge that at all.
But
I
you
said
did.
that sarcastically.
You
know that.
lost!
We said, oh, we lost by a whisker. That
You-
was said
you
sarcastically. Look, there's so much proof. All you have to do is look at it. And they should have sent it back to the legislatures for approval. I got almost 75 million votes, the most votes any sitting president has ever gotten. I was told if I got 63, which was what I got in 2016, you can't be beaten. The election, people should never be thinking about an election as fraudulent. We need two things. We need walls, and we have to have it.
I don't know about that, Donald, because a lot of people think a lot of elections are fraudulent. Pretty sure if I go back into the ether, Obama probably cheated.
They're trying to get them to vote. They can't even speak English. They don't even know what country they're in practically. And these people are trying to get them to vote. And that's why they're allowing them to come into our country.
I did watch all of these pieces of video. I didn't detect the sarcasm, lost by a whisker. We didn't quite make it. And we should just point out here as clarification, and you know this, you and your allies, 60 cases in front of many judges, many of them Republican.
No judge looked at it.
And said
they said we didn't have standing. That's the other thing. They said we didn't have standing, a technicality. Can you imagine a system where a person in an election doesn't have standing? The president of the United States doesn't have standing. That's how we lost. If you look at the facts, and I'd love to have you'll do a special on it. I'll show you Georgia, and I'll show you Wisconsin, and I'll show you Pennsylvania, and I'll show you. We have so many facts and statistics, but you know what? That doesn't matter, because we have to solve the problem that we have right now. That's old news. And the problem that we have right now is we have a nation in decline, and they have put it into decline. We have a nation that is dying, David.
Mr. President, thank you. Vice President Harris, you heard the president there tonight. He said he didn't say that he lost by a whisker. So he still believes he did not lose the election that was won by President Biden and yourself. But I do want to ask you about something that's come up in the last couple of days. This was a post from President Trump about this upcoming election just weeks away. He said, when I win, those people who cheated, and then he lists donors, voters, election officials, he says will be prosecuted to the fullest extent of the law, which will include long-term prison sentences. One of your campaign's top lawyers responded saying, we won't let Donald Trump intimidate us.
New poll.
We won't let him suppress the vote. Is that what you believe he's trying to do here?
Donald Trump was fired by 81 million people. So let's be clear about that. And clearly he is having a very difficult time processing that. But we cannot afford to have a president of the United States who attempts, as he did in the past, to upend the will of the voters in a free and fair election. And I'm going to tell you that I have traveled the world as vice president of the United States. Is this motherfucker mewing at me right now? And world leaders are laughing at Donald Trump. I have talked with military leaders, some of whom worked with you, and they say you're a disgrace. And when you then talk in this way in a presidential debate and deny what over and over again are court cases you have lost because you did, in fact, lose that election, it leads one to believe that perhaps we do not have in the candidate to my right the temperament or the ability to not be confused about fact. That's deeply troubling, and the American people deserve better.
I'll give you 1 minute to respond, Mr. President.
Let me just say about world leaders. Viktor Orban, one of the most respected men, they call him a strong man. He's a tough person, smart, Prime Minister of Hungary. They said, why is the whole world blowing up? 3 years ago, it wasn't. Why is it blowing up? He said, because you need Trump back as president. They were afraid of him. China was afraid, and I don't like to use the word afraid, but I'm just quoting him. China was afraid of him. North Korea was afraid of him. Look at what's going on with North Korea, by the way. He said Russia was afraid of him.
I don't want to know about North Korea at all.
the Nord Stream 2 pipeline, and Biden put it back on day one, but he ended the XL pipeline. The XL pipeline in our country, he ended that. But he let the Russians build a pipeline going all over Europe and heading into Germany, the biggest pipeline in the world. Look, Viktor Orban said it. He said the most respected, most feared person is Donald Trump. We had no problems when Trump was president. But when this weak, pathetic man that you saw at a debate just a few months ago, that if he weren't in that debate, he'd be running instead of her. She got no votes. He got 14 million votes. What you did, you talk about a threat to democracy. He got 14 million votes, and they threw him out of office. And you know what? I'll give you a little secret.
People wanted him out.
Hates her. He can't stand her. But he got 14 million votes. They threw him out. She got 0 votes. And when she ran, she was the first one to leave because she failed. And now she's running. I don't understand it, but I'm okay with it because
your time is
I
up.
think we're going to do very well.
We've got a lot more to get to.
Turning now to the Israel-Hamas war and the hostages who are still being held, Americans among them. Vice President Harris, in December, you said, quote, Israel has a right to defend itself, but you added, quote, it matters how, saying international humanitarian law must be respected. Israel must do more to protect innocent civilians.
Where's my cocaine?
You said that 9 months ago. Now an estimated 40,000 Palestinians are dead. Nearly 100 hostages remain. Just last week, Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu said there's not a deal in the making. President Biden has not been able to break through the stalemate. How would you do it?
Well, let's understand how we got here. On October 7, Hamas, a terrorist organization,
How much you need is crazy.
slaughtered 1,200 Israelis, many of them young people who were simply attending a concert. Women were horribly raped. And so absolutely, I said then, I say now, Israel has a right to defend itself. We would. And how it does
The Democratic
so matters.
TikTokers are not going to like this
Because
statement.
It is also true, far too many innocent Palestinians have been killed. Children, mothers. What we know is that this war must end. It must end immediately, and the way it will end is we need a ceasefire deal and we need the hostages out.
New poll.
And so we will continue to work around the clock on that. Work around the clock, also understanding that we must chart a course for a two-state solution. And in that solution, there must be security for the Israeli people and Israel, and in equal measure for the Palestinians. But the one thing I will assure you always, I will always give Israel the ability to defend itself, in particular as it relates to Iran and any threat that Iran and its proxies pose to Israel. But we must have a two-state solution where we can rebuild Gaza.
I'm not giving you the option of none. You must pick in my democratic
self-determination and the dignity
dictatorship
they so rightly
poll.
deserve.
President Trump, how would you negotiate with Netanyahu
I just
and also
threw a pig
Hamas in
bad.
order to get the hostages out and prevent the killing of more innocent civilians in Gaza?
If I were president, it would have never started.
Oh,
if I
Lord.
were president, Russia.
How
would
are
have
you going
never,
to-
Ever. I know Putin very well. He would have never, and there was no threat of it either, by the way, for 4 years, have gone into Ukraine and killed millions of people when you add it up. Far worse than people understand what's going on over there. But when she mentions about Israel, all of a sudden, she hates Israel. She wouldn't even meet with Netanyahu when he went to Congress to make a very important speech. She refused to be there because she was at a sorority party of hers. She wanted to go to the sorority party. She hates Israel. If she's president, I believe that Israel will not exist within 2 years from now. And I've been pretty good at predictions, and I hope I'm wrong about that one. She hates Israel. At the same time, in her own way, she hates the Arab population because the whole place is going to get blown up. Arabs, Jewish people, Israel. Israel will be gone. It would have never
Give us a third option.
Iran was broke under Donald Trump. Now Iran has $300 billion because they took off all the sanctions that I had. Iran had no money for Hamas or Hezbollah or any of the 28 different
Hezbollah, the baby?
spheres of terror. And they are spheres of terror, horrible terror. They had no money. It was a big story, and you know it. You covered it very well, actually. They had no money for terror. They were broke. Now they're a rich nation, and now what they're doing is they're spreading that money around. Look at what's happening with the Houthis and Yemen. Look at what's going on in the Middle East. This would have never happened. I will get that settled and fast, and I'll get the war with Ukraine and Russia ended. If I'm president-elect, I'll get it done before even becoming president.
Vice President Harris, he says you hate
How you going to get it done before becoming
That's
president?
absolutely not true. I have my entire career and life supported Israel and the Israeli people. He knows that. He's trying to, again, divide and distract from the reality, which is it is very well known that Donald Trump is weak
You got your
and
third
wrong
option,
on
pussies.
national security and foreign policy. It is well known that he admires dictators, wants to be a dictator on day one, according to himself. It is well known that he said of Putin that he can do whatever
We never get
the hell
polls on
he
Twitch.
wants
You don't
and go
deserve
into
one.
Ukraine. It is well known that he said when Russia went into Ukraine, it was brilliant. It is well known he exchanged love letters with Kim Jong-un, and it is absolutely well known that these dictators and autocrats are rooting for you to be president again because they're so clear. They can manipulate you with flattery and favors. And that is why so many military leaders who you have worked with have told me you are a disgrace. That is why we understand that we have to have a president who is not consistently weak and wrong on national security, including the importance of upholding and respecting in highest regard our military.
Vice President Harris, thank you.
They're the ones, and she's the one that caused it. That's weak for national security by allowing every nation last month for the year, 168 different countries sending people into our country. Their crime rates are way down. Putin endorsed her last week, said, I hope she wins. And I think he meant
appreciate this.
because what he's gotten away with is absolutely incredible. It wouldn't have happened with me. The leaders of other countries think that they're weak.
I got new alerts.
Incompetent, and they are. They're grossly incompetent. And I just ask one question. Why does Biden go in and kill the Keystone Pipeline and approve the single biggest deal that Russia's ever made, Nord Stream 2, the biggest pipeline anywhere in the world going to Germany and all over Europe? Because they're weak and they're ineffective. And Biden, by the way,
President
gets paid
Trump,
a lot of money.
Thank you. We have a lot of issues to get to.
We'll be right back with much more of this historic ABC News presidential debate from the National Constitution Center right here in Philadelphia. Back in a moment.
How are you Americans feeling? Are you happy? Are you scared? It's a whole bunch of that's how I feel right now. I just feel I just feel right now. You know what I'm saying? I think they said 2 commercials throughout this whole thing, and that was the first one. So I'm guessing we're at the halfway point. Gonna be honest with y'all. You know the song, I'm Proud to Be an American? Boy, I don't feel it right now. I don't feel like that song would be warranted right now. It's a lot of questions being asked that are reasonable questions to ask both parties that are not being answered. Those questions are really not being answered. And it's like when you think they might subtly get answered, it's just a whole bunch of finger pointing. Oh, you fucked the country up here. You fucked the country up there. You fucked the country up over there. You fucked the country up over there. And it's like, oh, what are your thoughts about the border? Oh, I will be able to end the war before I even become president. It's like, how did we get here? How? Like, legitimately, how? Why can't we just, answer the question in any type of earnest and honesty? I don't get it. I want to get it. I won't lie to you. I want to get it. I really do. I really want to get this. Like, I really want to see these 2 people just like answer these questions in earnest and honest fashion. But boy, have we ever heard a simple yes or no to it? Well, you can't answer with like a yes or a no, because these questions aren't really yes or no's. I don't think we've gotten one that's like a yes or a no. They kind of warrant these statements. Like the questions being asked warrant statements being made, but the statements are really just finger pointing. And I shit you not, the moment of the stream is going to be, I'm speaking. Oh, you're familiar with that. That's the moment of the stream. That's the one thing you're going to see. Go on social media when this is over. That's the thing that's going to be the hang the hat on. And honestly, not surprised at all that would be the case. Not surprised in the slightest. It is, but how you guys feel? Apparently, based on the poll, you're feeling millions and millions and millions. Because it's millions. It's millions and millions. Am I crazy? It was like every statement he made, the word millions was somewhere in there. It's like every statement, I feel like the word millions was in there. I could be wrong. Maybe there was a couple where it was like he didn't say millions at all, but I kept hearing millions a lot. Concern about that number is starting to grow on me. Like I'm actually starting to get concerned. I might have to get high again to be able to watch this with you anymore. I mean, I'm not high now, and I'm just like, is my weed dealer still awake? I don't think he is. Hey, Leanne, I just made an account to get in on this action. Well, glad you were able to make an account to get in on the action. So far, 2 hours in, I think the general consensus with everybody on both channels as I'm streaming is that we are not proud to be Americans right now. We are not proud to be Americans right now. Let's say that we all don't vote because taxes within. Will the system break, or will the government automatically implement that candidate? Probably they implement that. But yeah, it's kind of been bad. It's been bad. But I tell you, I'm telling you this with all sincerity. The moment of the stream, the moment of the entire thing will be, excuse me, I'm speaking. You're familiar with that, aren't you? Like that right there is the moment of the whole thing. I think they're back. They're back. They're back. We're back, boys. We're back at it, boys.
Pennsylvania.
Oh, and also I'm winning. I'm in the Cotton Bowl. I'm winning.
Davis.
Welcome back to this historic ABC News presidential debate tonight. We're going to continue here, and I want to turn to the war in Ukraine. We're now 2.5 years into this conflict. Mr. President, it has been the position of the Biden administration that we must defend Ukraine from Russia, from Vladimir Putin, to defend their sovereignty, their democracy, that it's in America's best interest to do so, arguing that if Putin wins, he may be emboldened to move even further into other countries. You have said you would solve this war in 24 hours. You said so just before the break tonight. How exactly would you do that? And I want to ask you a very simple question tonight. Do you want Ukraine
2-point conversion good? Watch this bitch ass motherfucker
I want
quit.
the war to stop. I want to save lives that are being uselessly, people being killed by the
he's
millions.
not quitting,
It's
but
the millions. It's so much worse than the numbers that you're getting, which are fake numbers. Look, we're in for
where are the real numbers?
$250 billion.
Give me the real numbers.
Because they don't ask Europe, which is a much bigger beneficiary to getting this thing done than we are. They're in for $150 billion less because Biden and you don't have the courage to ask Europe like I did with NATO. They paid billions and billions, hundreds of billions of dollars when
billions
I said,
and millions and trillions and gazillions.
You anymore. So that's maybe one of the reasons they don't like me as much as they like weak people. But you take a look at what's happening. We're in for 250 to 275 billion. They're into 100 to 150. They should be forced to equalize. With that being said, I want to get the war settled. I know Zelensky very well, and I know Putin very well. I have a good relationship, and they respect your president, okay? They respect me. They don't respect Biden. How would you respect him? Why? For what reason? He hasn't even made a phone call in 2 years to Putin, hasn't spoken to anybody. They don't even try and get it. That is a war that's dying to be settled. I will get it settled before I even become president. If I win, when I'm president-elect, and what I'll do
I won the Cotton Bowl,
I'll speak
baby.
to one, I'll speak to the other, I'll get them together. That
Big
war
Tulane,
would have never
baby, we
happened.
win.
And in fact, when I saw Putin after I left, unfortunately left because our country has gone to hell. But after I left, when I saw him building up soldiers, he did it after I left. I said, oh, he must be negotiating. It must be a good, strong point of negotiation. Well, it wasn't, because Biden had no idea how to talk to him. He had no idea how to stop it. And now you have millions of people dead, and it's only getting worse, and it could lead to World War III. Don't kid yourself, David. We're playing with World War III, and we have a president that we don't even know if he's... Where is our president? We don't even know if he's a president.
And I was waiting on this one.
They threw him out of a campaign like
I was waiting on this one.
We don't even know.
Where is
he
Joe?
our president? But we have a president,
Mr. President,
that doesn't know he's alive.
Your time is up. Just to clarify in the question, do you believe it's in the U.S. best interest for Ukraine to win this war, yes or no?
I think it's the U.S. best interest to get this war finished and just get it done.
All right.
Negotiate a deal, because we have to stop all of these human lives from being destroyed.
I want to take this to Vice President Harris. I want to get your thoughts on support for Ukraine in this moment, but also as Commander-in-Chief, if elected, how would you deal with Vladimir Putin? Would it be any different from what we're seeing from President Biden?
Got me on the penis, people.
Well, first of all, it's important to remind the former president you're not running against Joe Biden, you're running against me. I believe the reason that Donald Trump says that this war would be over within 24 hours is because he would just give it up. And that's not who we are as Americans. Let's understand what happened here. I actually met with Zelensky a few days before Russia invaded, tried through...
What if Zelensky just come out and be like, neither one of these motherfuckers talk to me. We're dying out here.
The most important international rules and norms, which is the importance of sovereignty and territorial integrity. And I met with President Zelensky. I shared with him American intelligence about how he could defend himself. Days later, I went to NATO's eastern flank, to Poland and Romania. And through the work that I and others did, we brought 50 countries together to support Ukraine in its righteous defense. And because of our support, because of the air defense, the ammunition, the artillery, the javelins, the Abrams tanks that we have provided, Ukraine stands as an independent and free country. If Donald Trump were president, Putin would be sitting in Kyiv right now.
Oh,
and
Lord.
Understand what that would mean, because Putin's agenda is not just about Ukraine. Understand why.
What the fuck? Jamie, what the fuck is this?
And tomorrow I'm doing 9/11.
Oh, what the
I spoke to the Vice President. She seems calm, cool, and collected. I think she's going to do great. And I'm not going to say what advice I gave. The debate, and then tomorrow I'm doing 9/11.
I quit. I don't want to do this anymore. I quit. I don't want to do this anymore, man. I don't.
You for lunch.
Vice President Harris, thank you. We've heard from both of you on Ukraine tonight. Afghanistan came up in the last hour. I wanted her to respond to something you said earlier. And now, please.
Jamie, what the fuck was that?
Putin would be sitting in Moscow, and he wouldn't have lost.
When was this? Was this today?
And women, but he would have been sitting.
Everyone in New York, evacuate.
Quiet, please. He
If you live in New York, evacuate.
In Moscow, much happier than he is right now. But eventually, you know, he's got a thing that other people don't have. He's got nuclear weapons. They don't ever talk about that. He's got nuclear weapons. Nobody ever thinks about that. And eventually, maybe he'll use them, and maybe he hasn't been that threatening. But he does have that, something we don't even like to talk about. Nobody likes to talk about it. But just so you understand, they sent her to negotiate peace before this war started. 3 days later, he went in and he started the war because everything they said was weak and stupid. They said the wrong things. That war should have never started. She was the emissary. They sent her in to negotiate with Zelensky and Putin, and she did. And the war started 3 days later. And that's the kind of talent we have with her. She's worse than Biden. In my opinion, I think he's the worst president in the history of our country. She goes down as the worst vice president in the history of our country. But let me tell you something. She is a horrible negotiator. They sent her in to negotiate. As soon as they left, Putin did the invasion.
President Trump, thank you. You did bring up something. You said she went to negotiate with Vladimir Putin. Vice President Harris, have you ever met Vladimir Putin? Can you clarify tonight?
Yet again, I said it at the beginning of this debate, you're going to hear a bunch of lies coming from this fellow. And that is another one. When I went to meet with President Zelensky, I've now met with him over 5 times. The reality is it has been about standing as America always should, as a leader upholding international rules and norms, as a leader who shows strength, understanding that the alliances we have around the world are dependent on our ability to look out for our friends and not favor our enemies because you adore strongmen instead of caring about democracy. And that is very much what is at stake here. The President of the United States is commander-in-chief. And the American people have a right to rely on a president who understands the significance of America's role and responsibility. in terms of ensuring that there is stability and ensuring we stand up for our principles and not sell them for the benefit of personal flattery.
We've talked about Ukraine and Vladimir Putin. I do want to talk about Afghanistan. It came up in the first hour of this debate. I want to move on to Afghanistan.
Stoltenberg said Trump did the most amazing thing I've ever seen. He got these countries, the 28 countries at the time, to pay up. He said, I've never seen. He's the head of NATO.
Oh, the polls on
he
YouTube,
said, I've
big
never
buddy.
seen. For years, we were paying almost all of NATO. We were
The
being
YouTube
ripped
gets the
off
special
by
polls.
European nations, both on trade and on NATO. I got them to pay up by saying one of the statements you made before, if you don't pay, we're not going to protect you.
President
Otherwise,
Trump.
we would have never gotten it. He said it was one of the most incredible jobs that he's ever seen done.
Thank you. I want to turn to Afghanistan. It came up in the first hour of the debate, and we witnessed a poignant moment today on Capitol Hill, honoring the soldiers who died in the chaotic withdrawal from Afghanistan. I do want to ask the Vice President, do you believe you bear any responsibility in the way that withdrawal played out?
Say yes. Say yes.
Well, I will tell you, I agreed with President Biden's decision to pull out of Afghanistan. 4 presidents said they would, and Joe Biden did. And as a result, America's taxpayers are not paying the $300 million a day we were paying for that endless war. And as of today, there is not one member of the United States military who is in active duty in a combat zone in any war zone around the world, the first time this century.
Respect
But
the
let's
troops.
understand how we got to where we are. Donald Trump, when he was president, negotiated one of the weakest deals you can imagine. He calls himself a deal maker. Even his national security advisor said it was a weak, terrible deal. And here's how it went down. He bypassed the Afghan government. He negotiated directly with a terrorist organization called the Taliban.
Ooh.
The negotiation involved the Taliban getting 5,000 Taliban terrorists released. And get this, and the president at the time invited the Taliban to Camp David, a place of storied significance for us as Americans.
I ain't gonna lie. Trump, millions and billions. Kamala, let's understand how we got here. That's the biggest summary of this whole thing.
Respected world leaders. And this former president, as president,
call him a
invited
bitch.
them
He's a
to
bitch.
Camp David.
Say it,
because
Kamala.
he does
Make
not,
this more
again,
interesting.
Appreciate the role and responsibility of the President of the United States to be commander-in-chief with a level of respect. And this gets back to the point of how he has consistently disparaged and demeaned members of our military, fallen soldiers, and the work that we must do to uphold the strength and the respect of the United States of America around the world.
Vice President Harris, thank you. President Trump, your response to her saying that you began the negotiations with the Taliban.
So if you take a look at that period of time, the Taliban was killing our soldiers, a lot of them, with snipers. And I got involved with the Taliban because the Taliban was doing the killing. That's the fighting force within Afghanistan. They don't bother doing that because, you know, they deal with the wrong people all the time. But I got involved. And Abdul is the head of the Taliban. He is still the head of the Taliban. And I told Abdul, don't do it anymore. You do it anymore, you're going to have problems. And he said, why do you send me a picture of my house? I said, you're going to have to figure that out, Abdul. And for 18 months, we had nobody killed. We did have an agreement negotiated by Mike Pompeo. It was a very good agreement. The reason it was good, it was we were getting out. We would have been out faster than them, but we wouldn't have lost the soldiers. We wouldn't have left many Americans behind, and we wouldn't have left $85 billion worth of brand new, beautiful military equipment behind. And just to finish, they blew it. The agreement said you have to do this, this, and they didn't do it. They didn't do it. The agreement was terminated by us because they didn't do what they were supposed to do.
I want to move on.
And these people did the worst withdrawal and, in my opinion, the most embarrassing moment in the history of our country. And by the way, that's why Russia attacked Ukraine, because they saw how incompetent she and her boss are.
President Trump, thank you. I want to move on now to race and politics in this country. Mr. President, you recently said of Vice President Harris, quote, I didn't know she was black until a number of years ago when she happened to turn black and now she wants to be known as black. I want to ask a bigger picture question here tonight. Why do you believe it's appropriate to weigh in on the racial identity of your opponent?
I don't, and I don't care. I don't care what she is.
You wouldn't have brought it up if you didn't bring it.
You make a big deal out of something. I couldn't care less. Whatever she wants to be is okay with me.
But those were your words, so I'm asking.
I don't know. I mean, all I can say is I read where she was not black, that she put out, and I'll say that. And then I read that she was black, and that's okay. Either one was okay with me. That's up to her. That's up to her.
Vice President Harris, your thoughts on this?
I think it's, I mean, honestly, I think it's a tragedy that we have someone who wants to be president who has consistently, over the course of his career, attempted to use race to divide the American people. You know, I do believe that the vast majority of us know that we have so much more in common than what separates us, and we don't want this kind of approach that is just constantly trying to divide us, and especially by race. And let's remember how Donald Trump started. He was land, he owned buildings, and he was investigated because he refused to rent property to black families. Let's remember, this is the same individual who took out a full-page ad in the New York Times calling for the execution of 5 young black and Latino boys who were innocent, the Central Park 5. Took out a full-page ad calling for their execution. This is the same individual who spread birther lies about the first black president of the United States. And I think the American people want better than that, want better than this, want someone who understands, as I do, I travel our country. We see in each other a friend. We see in each other a neighbor. We don't want a leader who is constantly trying to have Americans point their fingers at each other. I meet with people all the time who tell me, can we please just have discourse about how we're going to invest in the aspirations and the ambitions and the dreams of the American people?
Never gonna happen,
that
buddy.
Regardless
Good dream,
of
though.
people's color or the language their grandmother speaks, we all have the same dreams and aspirations and want a president who invests in those, not in hate and division.
Vice President Harris, thank you. Lindsay?
President Trump, this is now your 3rd time.
This is the most divisive presidency in the history of our country. There's never been anything like it. They're destroying our country, and they come up with things like what she just said, going back many, many years, when a lot of people, including Mayor Bloomberg, agreed with me on the Central Park 5. They admitted, they said, they pled guilty. And I said, well, if they pled guilty, they badly hurt a person, killed a person ultimately. And if they pled guilty, then they pled, we're not guilty. But this is a person that has to stretch back years, 40, 50 years ago, because there's nothing now. I built one of the greatest economies in the history of the world, and I'm going to build it again. It's going to be bigger, better, and stronger. But they're destroying our economy. They have no idea what a good economy is. Their oil policies, every single policy. She is Biden. She's trying to get away from Biden. I don't know the gentleman, she says. She is Biden. The worst inflation we've ever had, a horrible economy because inflation has made it so bad, and she can't get away with that.
Thank you. Your time is up,
I
Lindsay.
want to respond to that, though. I want to just respond briefly. Clearly, I am not Joe Biden, and I am certainly not Donald Trump. And what I do offer is a new generation of leadership for our country. One who believes
Build Back Betty is
what
crazy.
is possible. One who brings a sense of optimism about what we can do instead of always disparaging the American people. I believe in what we can do to strengthen our small businesses, which is why I have a plan. Let's talk about our plans and let's compare the plans. I have a plan to give startup businesses $50,000 tax deduction
Okay.
to
Good plan.
pursue their ambitions, their innovation, their ideas, their hard work. I have a plan, $6,000
It's a good
for
plan.
young
Sounds like a good
families
plan.
for the first year of your
Execution
child's
might be crazy,
life,
but
to help you in that most critical stage of your child's development. I have a plan that is about allowing people to be able to pursue what has been fleeting in terms of the American dream by offering a help with down payment of $25,000 down payment assistance for first-time home buyers. That's the kind of conversation, I believe, David, that people really want tonight, as opposed to a conversation that is constantly about belittling and name-calling. Let's turn the page
Vice President
and move
Harris,
forward.
thank you. Let's turn to policy.
President
Let's
Trump,
turn back
we
to
have
policy.
to move on. President Trump.
Let's turn to policy,
She
please.
has a plan to defund the police. She has a plan to confiscate
I can't believe you're torturing yourself watching this.
everybody's
I'm an
guns.
American.
She
This
has
is
a
my
plan
legacy.
to not allow fracking in Pennsylvania or anywhere else.
Okay.
Thank you,
That's
Mr.
what her
President.
plan is until just recently.
I just need
Lindsay,
to
go ahead.
respond because
Trump,
the
President
former
Trump.
president has said
No, I'm
something
sorry.
twice that I need to
No,
respond to.
I'm sorry.
I
We're
just
going
need
to move
respond
on, Vice
one
President
time
Harris.
to what he has
President
said
Trump, this
multiple
is
times.
now your
Yes.
third time running for president. You have long vowed to repeal and replace the Affordable Care Act, also known as Obamacare. You have failed to accomplish that. You now say you're going to keep Obama.
Credit to these people for trying to fucking get this ship on track.
You said, quote, we're working.
Trying.
So tonight, 9 years after you first started running, do you have a plan, and can you tell us what it is?
Obamacare was lousy health care. Always was. It's not very good today.
Oh,
And what I said,
Lord.
that if we come up with something, and we are working on things, we're going to do it, and we're going to replace it. But remember this. I inherited Obamacare because Democrats wouldn't change it. They wouldn't vote for it. They were unanimous. They wouldn't vote to change it. If they would have done that, we would have had a much better plan than Obamacare. But the Democrats came up. They wouldn't vote for it. I had a choice to make when I was president. Do I save it and make it as good as it can be? Never going to be great.
I ain't
Or
gonna
do
lie
I-
though. Even though they both had, it was like, oh, I just want to respond to that. I just want to. I think that was like the first time they didn't let somebody just go off.
I decided, and I told my people, the top
They're
people, and they're very good
misogynist.
people. I have a lot of good people in that administration. We read about the bad ones. We had some real bad ones too, and so do they. They have really bad ones. The difference is they don't get rid of them. But let me just explain. I had a choice to make. Do I save it and make it as good as it can be, or do I let it rot? And I saved it. I did the right thing. But it's still never going to be great, and it's too expensive for people. And what we will do is we're looking at different plans. If we can come up with a plan that's going to cost our people, our population, less money and be better health care than Obamacare, then I would absolutely do it.
So all that just to say you don't have a plan.
Good as it can be run.
That's saying you don't have a
Still do
plan.
not have a plan.
I have concepts of a plan. I'm not
Oh, my
president
God.
right now. But
Oh my
if
God.
we come up with something,
That's
I would
a
only
bad
change it
thi-
if we
that's a
come up with
bad
something
thing for
that's
Trump to
better
have
and
said.
less expensive. And there are concepts and options we have to do that. And you'll be hearing about it in the not too distant future.
Vice President Harris, in 2017, you supported Bernie Sanders' proposal to do away with private insurance.
That was bad on Trump.
Healthcare system. 2 years later, you proposed a plan that included a private insurance option. What is your plan today?
Well, first of all, I absolutely support, and over the last 4 years as vice president, private health care options. But what we need to do is maintain and grow the Affordable Care Act. But I'll get to that, Lindsay. I just need to respond to a previous point that the former president has made. I've made very clear my position on fracking. And then this business about taking everyone's guns away. Tim Walz and I are both gun owners. We're not taking anybody's guns away. So stop with the continuous lying about this stuff. As it relates to the Affordable Care Act, understand, just look at the history to know where people stand. When Donald Trump was president, 60 times he tried to get rid of the Affordable Care Act. 60 times. I was a senator at the time when I will never forget the early morning hours when it was up for a vote in the United States Senate. And the late, great John McCain, who you have disparaged as being, you don't like him, you said, at the time because he got caught. He was an American hero. The late, great John McCain, I will never forget that night, walked onto the Senate floor and said, no, you don't. No, you don't. No, you don't get rid of the Affordable Care Act. You have no plan. And what the Affordable Care Act has done is eliminate the ability of insurance companies to deny people with pre-existing conditions. I don't have to tell the people watching tonight, you remember what that was like? Remember when an insurance company could deny?
Wasn't good.
If a child had asthma, if someone was a breast cancer survivor, if a grandparent had diabetes. And thankfully, as I've been vice president and we over the last 4 years have strengthened the Affordable Care Act, we have allowed for the first time Medicare to negotiate drug prices on behalf of you, the American people. Donald Trump said he was going to allow Medicare to negotiate drug prices. He never did. We did. And now we have capped the cost of insulin at $35 a month. Since I've been vice president, we have capped the cost of prescription medication for seniors at $2,000 a year.
Stop with your fentanyl.
And when I am president, we will do that for all people, understanding that the value I bring to this is that access to health care should be a right and not just a privilege of those who can afford it. And the plan has to be to strengthen the Affordable Care Act, not get rid of it,
Vice President
prologue
Harris, thank
in terms
you.
of where Donald Trump stands on that.
I want to move to an issue that's important for a lot of...
She made a mistake. Number one,
why are they letting them
fought Obamacare for 10 years? But it wasn't only him. It were all of the Democrats that kept it going. And you know what? We can do much better than Obamacare, much less money. But she won't improve
You need a plan.
private insurance
You need a
for people,
plan.
private medical insurance. That's another thing she doesn't want to get.
President
People
Trump.
are paying privately for insurance that have worked hard and made money, and they want to have private. She wants everybody to be on government insurance where you wait 6 months for an operation that you need immediately.
President Trump, thank you. We have another issue that we'd like to get to that's important for a number of Americans, in particular younger voters, and that's climate change. President Trump, with regard to the environment, you say that we have to have clean air and clean water. Vice President Harris, you call climate change an existential threat. The question to you both tonight is, what would you do to fight climate change? And Vice President Harris, we'll start with you. 1 minute for you each.
Well, the former president had said that climate change is a hoax. And what we know is that it is very real. You ask anyone who lives in a state who has experienced these extreme weather occurrences, who now is either being denied home insurance or it's being jacked up. You ask anybody who has been the victim of what that means in terms of losing their home, having nowhere to go. We know that we can actually deal with this issue. The young people of America care deeply about this issue. And I am proud that as vice president over the last 4 years, we have invested $1 trillion in a clean energy economy, while we have also increased domestic gas production to historic levels. We have created over 800,000 new manufacturing jobs while I have been vice president. We have invested in clean energy to the point that we are opening up factories around the world. Donald Trump said he was going to create manufacturing jobs. He lost manufacturing jobs. And I'm also proud to have the endorsement of the United Auto Workers and Sean Fain, who also know that part of building a clean energy economy includes investing in American-made products, American automobiles. It includes growing what we can do around American manufacturing and opening up auto plants, not closing them like happened under Donald Trump.
Vice President Harris, thank you.
It didn't happen under Donald Trump. Let me just tell you, they lost 10,000 manufacturing jobs this last month. It's going, they're all leaving. They're building big auto plants in Mexico, in many cases owned by China. They're building these massive plants, and they think they're going to sell their cars into the United States because of these people. What they have given to China is unbelievable. But we're not going to let that. We'll put tariffs on those cars so they can't come into our country, because they will kill the United Auto Workers and any auto worker, whether it's in Detroit or South Carolina or any other place. What they've done to business and manufacturing in this country is horrible. We have nothing because they refuse. You know, Biden doesn't go after people because supposedly China paid him millions of dollars. He's afraid to do it. Between him and his son, they get all this money from Ukraine. They get all this money from all of these different countries. And then you wonder, why is he so loyal to this one, that one, Ukraine, China? Why is he? Why did he get $3.5 million from the mayor of Moscow's wife? Why did she pay him $3.5 million? This is a crooked administration, and they're selling our country down the tubes.
President Trump, thank you.
Thank you.
We'll be right back with closing statements from both of our candidates. An historic night, this ABC News presidential debate from Philadelphia. Back in a moment.
This. You know how people look at moments and they're like, this is the darkest day in American history. This is the dumbest day in American history. This is the dumbest day in America. I want to see this chat that they have. Oh, they don't have the chat on. Oh, you're not mingling with the people in ABC News' chat. You're mingling with the people in my chat, though. You're mingling with the right side of history in my YouTube chat, though. You see how amazing it is? You literally got 2 links to their ABC News fucking network. But see here, you got no links. All you got is just the stream and all that it holds dear. Isn't it beautiful? Isn't it beautiful? The millions upon millions and millions and billions and trillions and trillions. Second, yeah, it's almost over. It's almost over. We've got our second commercial, and it's still not feeling very American right now. I feel like, you remember when I said if I was Russia, you know, I'm still in that camp. Like I feel like if I was Russia, I could get away with it. But that's only if I was Russia. Honestly, since this is so bad, I might have nightmares about how worse this would have been if Joe was in Kamala's spot right now. This drastically might have been worse. If Joe was in this fucking position.
Gentlemen, this is Democracy Manifest.
I feel like we would have been in the most batshit timeline possible if it would have been happier. I'd argue it would have been sadder because he just the way you look at it, you failed on every avenue under the sun. You didn't do a good job. You failed. Like literally today, I'm doing 9/11 tomorrow.
Stop hiring black people to make Mexican food. Would you trust a white person to make you Chinese food?
There you go. Would you? Important question for everybody. Would you let a white person make you Chinese food? A very important question. It's an important question that the American populace wants to know. This is my Donald Trump impression. It's as good as you're going to get. Because we have a lot of want-to-be Caucasian males attempting to immigrate their lifestyles into the Chinese populace. They're trying to make Chinese in the China. The Chinese people are very upset. We have millions of Chinese people very upset over Caucasian males specifically coming into their country and just making all the foods. And they're not making the foods right, and I'm absolutely disappointed in them because you know the white people are very nice people. Somebody say I named my first cat China. This is not the time for those. We're living in a populous Caucasian society where the Caucasians are taking over, and they are coming to take your egg rolls. They are migrating. They're bringing Panda Express to China, not an authentic Chinese restaurant. I got food poisoning from that place. I will never, ever again. Authentic Chinese food comes from the dirtiest of places in American cities. The dirtier the establishment's interior, the tastier the foods. It's a proven fact. I've proven that fact. It is a scientifically proven fact. We have the information. We have the journalists. We have the sources. You go to any mall and there's a Chinese food restaurant, and if you don't see the Chinese food and there are no old Chinese women, that food is not good at all. Okay, it's back. It's
Philadelphia,
back.
Pennsylvania.
It's back.
Here again, David Muir and Lindsay Davis.
Welcome back tonight. The time has come for closing statements, and Vice President Harris, we begin with you.
So I think you've heard tonight two very different visions for our country. One that is focused on the future.
One that's funny.
And the other that is focused on the past.
One is funnier.
And an attempt to take us backward.
And you won't be able to dictate which one is which.
But we're not going back. And I do believe that the American people know we all have so much more in common than what separates us. And we can chart a new way forward. And a vision of that includes having a plan, understanding the aspirations, the dreams, the hopes, the ambition of the American people, which is why I intend to create an opportunity economy, investing in small businesses, in new families, in what we can do around protecting seniors, what we can do that is about giving hardworking folks a break and bringing down the cost of living. I believe in what we can do together that is about sustaining America's standing in the world and ensuring that we have the respect that we so rightly deserve, including respecting our military and ensuring we have the most lethal fighting force in the world. I will be a president that will protect our fundamental rights and freedoms, including the right of a woman to make decisions about her own body and not have her government tell her what to do. I'll tell you, I started my career as a prosecutor. I was a DA, I was an attorney general, a United States senator, and now vice president.
If
I've only
Trump
had one
responds
client,
with, you arrested the black people.
And I'll tell you, as a prosecutor, I never asked a victim or a witness, are you a Republican or a Democrat? The only thing I ever asked them, are you okay? And that's the kind of president we need right now. Someone who cares about you and is not putting themselves first. I intend to be a president for all Americans and focus on what we can do over the next 10 and 20 years to build back up our country by investing right now in you, the American people.
Vice President Harris, thank you. President Trump?
So she just started by saying she's going to do this, she's going to do that, she's going to do all these wonderful things.
I'm scared.
Why hasn't she done it? She's been there for 3.5 years. They've had 3.5 years to fix the border. They've had 3.5 years to create jobs and all the things we talked about. Why hasn't she done it? She should leave right now, go down to that beautiful White House, go to the Capitol, get everyone together and do the things you want to do, but you haven't done it, and you won't do it because you believe in things that the American people don't believe in. You believe in things like we're not going to frack. We're not going to take fossil fuel. We're not going to do things that are going to make this country strong, whether you like it or not. Germany tried that, and within 1 year, they were back to building normal energy plants. We're not ready for it. We can't sacrifice our country for the sake of bad vision. But I just ask one simple question. Why didn't she do it? We're a failing nation. We're a nation that's in serious decline. We're being laughed at all over the world. All over the world, they're laughed. I know the leaders very well. They're coming to see me. They call me. We're laughed at.
Oh, I threw a
pig. They don't understand what happened to us as a nation. We're not a leader.
It's over. I lost.
We don't have any idea what's going on. We have wars going on in the Middle East. We have wars going on with Russia and Ukraine. We're going to end up in a third world war, and it'll be a war like no other because of nuclear weapons, the power of weaponry. I rebuilt our entire military. She gave a lot of it away to the Taliban. She gave it to Afghanistan. What these people have done to our country, and maybe toughest of all, is allowing millions of people to come into our country. Many of them are criminals, and they're destroying our country. The worst president, the worst vice president in the history of our country.
President Trump, thank you. And that is our ABC News presidential debate from here in Philadelphia at the National Constitution Center. I'm Lindsay Davis.
And I'm David Muir. Thank you for watching here in the U.S. and all over the world, and from all of us here at ABC News. Good night.
Thank you. And we are here live on ABC with our post-debate comments. I'm Martha Raddatz. It was a lively debate from the economy to abortion to Afghanistan. They had it all, and it was historic John Carl?
And then we hear backstage they just get into a shouting match and fists are flying and this is all. So, how you guys feeling? Are you feeling patriotic? I'm not. I feel like we are, once again, the laughing stock of the fucking world. I don't know, man. I do not feel proud to be an American. I feel embarrassed. I officially have brain rot. Well, that's the typical way. That's the typical way we do this. Oh my God. I have a drastic level amount of brain rot. And it's not even fair that I have this brain rot, bro. I don't even know. I feel cold. Does that make sense? I feel cold. I feel like we got nothing done. We left knowing that Trump, at least when it comes to trying to restructure or change Obamacare, doesn't have a plan, but you know, he has a framework of an idea of a plan. Kamala likes to say, you know, how we got here, which some facets true. We kind of got here based off a lot of fuckery. I do necessarily feel violated a little bit. We're screwed. Leon is disappointed. In some minutes, he will unleash wrath and anger. What's really going to piss me off is that we all watched this whole thing. And we watched them finger point. We watched them answer the questions, but in ways that leave a lot more questions repeated towards them. Blame game. It was drastically one of the most embarrassing things from both sides. And the thing that's going to piss me the fuck off are the people on both sides who are going to pretend like their person did good when that ain't the case whatsoever. Like, you watch this, and if you don't walk away from it saying, fuck, these really are our two picks, then I just can't respect your opinion in anything in any capacity. But one more poll. Just one more poll for my YouTube people. Because, you know, we talked a lot about who wins, who won. Why not one more for the road? Why not? Why not? We're just like, why not one? I think I know which one's gonna win. I don't like either candidates, and the people around me are so strong-willed about how fantastic one is and how awful the other is. You know what's so great? You didn't put a name behind either one of those. Seriously, I should be enjoying a cruise, but I want to watch Leon's slow hate being an American. I mean, yeah. It's hard. We're actually cooked. You know what? We may not be cooked because in times like this, I think we deserve to hear a certain perspective, because I'm willing to bet he's live right now. And if he's still live, I gotta know what he thinks. I gotta hear it out of his own mouth.
Tonight, right? Trump talked too much. Kamala Harris didn't talk enough, right? And that was a big problem. Okay, big problem. So ultimately, I think
hearing him say Kamala didn't talk enough is an immediate lie.
Second debate. And I'm hoping that if there is a second debate, which at this point, I think that Kamala Harris may choose not to do it, right? I don't think that she wants to do another debate. But there has to be a second debate, I think, because this just wasn't good enough, right? It wasn't good enough. And we also need another network that's not so biased, right? I really wish that they would do a debate on Fox News. Who knows?
Kiss my ass. We're done. I'm gone. Don't even sit here and try to cape for Fox News. Why? You wanted to see me mad? Let me just get mad for a quick little second. Let me give you an understanding. Listen, you cannot say we need a news network that's not biased, and the first one out your mouth is Fox. You know what? No. I'm too grown. I've grown up. No. I'm better than this. I don't need that. I don't need to throw that chair. I'm better than this. I don't need this level of tyranny. I don't need this American-made propaganda in my face. Leon, it's your bit. With a straight face. This nigga said with a straight face. I wish a more non-biased news network would do this. And the one he threw out was Fox. That's like if Destiny, fuck that. It's like if Hassan say, "Oh, I want a more unbiased news network," and he says CNN. Do I want to keep hearing him?
Substance behind it for how she's going to lower grocery prices, secure the border, and make.
I want to keep hearing him talk.
That her fake acting, her disagreeing with everything that he says, right, regardless of what he says, right, just shaking her head. Saying no, saying, oh, that's not true, right? Saying that into the mic. All this stuff is rehearsed nonsense from her team.
It's rehearsed to say something ain't true? That's what Trump did.
Picked up on the fact that
I told y'all niggas was gonna lie.
Mike, and he can hear it on the debate stage, but the mic is muted, so the audience can't hear it, right? But he can hear it on the debate stage, and him hushing her up, right, a few times throughout the night, I think was actually a pretty good moment for Trump, right?
We're cooked. Goodbye. Like we're cooked. We're cooked. You're all. Yeah, I'm getting my passport ready. This American levels of fucking glazing. It is fucking sick. ABC News is left leaning. Yes. But you can't watch this shit and not be like, you know what? They did a pretty good job keeping this as civil as it could possibly be. I didn't like the fact that after damn near 2 hours of these motherfuckers like jaw-jacking at each other and them letting them go, they did stop Kamala. They stopped Kamala from responding. Yes, ABC News is left-leaning. But you cannot stretch your neck and say you wish an unbiased news network would do it, and then you yell out Fox News. You can't do that. You can't sit there. Oh, and people bought it too. People bought it too. We started the stream on such a good note. We were talking about random immigrants eating your bats and cats and dogs and hanging their heads on your front lawns and shit. And then we just end off with such a stinker. This was such a stinker. These damn right-winged ads ruined the live stream. Oh, was it Tenet Media? Was it Tenet Media? I want to hear. Fuck it. I want to hear you guys say more.
Actually, great moments for Trump. So I really like the fact that he did that. Right. That was good. Okay. Because it really showed that she was the one that was kind of unhinged throughout the night in regards to.
Both of them, if you could classify it as unhinged when it comes to responding to what the other one had to say.
Her facial expressions and her reactions to the things that.
Yes, because Trump mewing
was saying, because the whole strategy was for her to make those facial expressions to try to make it seem like everything that he was saying was ridiculous, right? And false, right? Everything he's saying is so ridiculous that she has to.
So look, I don't know about y'all, but when a motherfucker sits there and says like, he really ain't got no fucking plan in regards to anything regarding replacing Obamacare, I feel like we all as Americans should kind of look at him sideways, because you need something
to make these exaggerated facial expressions. So anyways, let's check in on what JD Vance is saying, and then we'll go from there.
I don't want to hear what
Auto
JD Vance
workers
is
in
saying.
Michigan want to keep their.
I don't want to hear. I don't want to hear. I want more of your.
He had to have a spectacular performance, considering how this is her first exposure to a broader audience, right? Outside of the people that, watch mainstream liberal media all the time.
Wouldn't you say the same thing about Trump?
And then watch her rallies or whatever, which, is probably not that many people, but.
Didn't everybody debunk this whole rally shit where y'all was taking pictures of the fucking airplane and trying to act like people are supposed to be that close to a fucking airplane?
Still, right? This is her exposure to the world, and she didn't lay an egg, okay? She didn't lay an egg, but she also wasn't spectacular. So ultimately, I think it was an L, okay? And part of the reason why I think it was an L for her, even though the debate was a wash, is because of her facial expressions. Like, I really cannot.
I'm done. That was enough. Like, is it the fate? Somebody lost the debate. You not telling me that the bitch fumbled in any capacity in her speech, in her performance. You talking about this bitch fucking face with this body language class? Like, y'all are fried. Y'all are fried. And then you bitches get mad at me when I say Tim Pool is probably a dumbass. Like, these are the people y'all turn to for your perspectives on media. We gotta monitor a bitch's facial. We gotta monitor a bitch's facial expressions. We're cooked. We're cooked on like a knowledge level, on an understanding level, on a comprehension level. We are fucking fried. And you can either believe it or not believe it, but we are fried. Says Potu. I'm not reading that shit at all. We are fried. We are fucking fried. I'm going to take a hot